Doc?
Whoa, it's reviews day time, everybody. Awestruck Comics Podcast reviews. Pretty busy week, Christmas week. Oh, Bear's trying to get in. Bear, you getting in? I got my dog.
That
You getting in?
Ursa Major
Come on, buddy. It's okay. He's doing great.
dog. The
I
dog
don't
was
have any
fading in
food.
and out. The dog was fading out like he doesn't exist.
I don't have
Like you
any
just
food,
have this
buddy.
imaginary dog.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no dog there, Mark.
oh, there's a cat walking by. There's a tail. It's great.
Should live in
It's
a zoo.
it's why it's Magic Kingdom. It's Wild Kingdom. All right. So reviews this week, Christmas week. Usually this is a bad week. This is a good week. I never
It's
know.
weird.
Yeah,
It's a bad good week.
yeah. It was. I thought it was a
Um,
really good week. I thought stuff was real good.
no, in the past, like it's been a light week.
Right.
There have been
That's what I
times
thought.
when remember they would make a point. Marvel would be like, "We're putting out one comic this week," to like
Right.
start something new. It was kind of a neat event.
Mm.
I always preferred it when more comics would come out because typically this is the week I would be off from college back in the day, or high school. The nostalgia goes back to those days of us in our primes, our Optimus primes. But now we're old and we
Optimus
just
Prime.
like when we get to the store, we get to the store.
Yeah, and I used to always really like trying to get like a book or an art book or something like that, and then that way, like right after, like I have like the 26th was always one of my favorite days. I switched apartments and I looked because I think I told you I was like I took all this time off in December. I barely worked in December, and then I like look and I worked every day last week except for Christmas Day. And I'm like, what's
Right,
that all
right,
going on? I went to a different screen and realized I went into my request screen and saw a bunch of them get canceled out when I switched to the new department.
right.
So I already had 4 days blocked in the last 2 weeks, and they're gone. They're gone, and I can't request them now because too many people are off. And I told you, I don't think we barely talked this week because I just was slammed because there's way too many people off my department. I'm just slammed.
What's your best comic book Christmas memory?
Uh,
Uh,
I I think it was, and I guess it was an Amazon too. I think I talked about this one last time. Is when when I was with W1, her dad, my father-in-law. It's actually funny. My girls are going to go to his birthday party like right now. They just left. He bought. I put on. I said, I'll take any. Uh, I want at least the first two Hellboy library, and I got like five. Like he got me five, and it was just I just remember like, and it was one after the other, and he wrapped them individually,
that's
or
him
his wife
saying,
did.
"I'm sorry,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry for taking your license away for 6 months."
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh my
Funny,
gosh,
funny
that's right.
story.
Hmm.
How short can you tell the story, Mark?
Pretty short. Yeah. So I was dating W1, wife one, and we broke up for a brief period of time. And the day, and I had not even a PBA card. I had a PBA card, and I had like a badge, like you can get
What
in
a
Jersey. I don't know if you know about
what a
this. New Jersey, they announced that there's no such thing anymore. They
oh,
are
they're
not
getting rid of.
selling. They're gone this year. They're gone.
What's the other
I
name
saw a
for it? It's
story about it.
PBA card, but there's also another card.
FOP,
FOP. That's the
Fraternal
Fraternal
Order of
Order of
Police.
Police.
Hmm.
If you're a relative, brother, friend of a policeman,
Hmm.
they would give you a card. It's kind of a get out of jail free card. You get pulled over for speeding or you do something. It's like for a minor effect,
Yeah,
some
they'll
minor
take it.
offense.
They'll take it and they'll call the officer.
Yeah.
So I just called for my brother. Where if I did something stupid, they call my brother. My brother calls you and me and tells me I'm an asshole. I'm a shithead. Don't do that. Like don't embarrass
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. The minute I
I'm not
got
giving
one,
you any.
I never got pulled over again.
Right, right, right. That's why I think when I got older, that was the case. But in this case, we were. I don't even know if we were completely broken up. I don't know how much time went by, but basically, I had like a badge that was like literally like a metal thing that I got from my
Yeah.
father-in-law, and it was almost like in the dashboard on the left, like right above the inspection sticker. And the dude took it out and then went back. I got pulled over, and my rear light was out, so I got driving too close, changing without signaling. I got like six tickets, and I didn't contest them because none of them sounded like moving violations. All of them are moving violations. So part of it's my dumb fault.
Right.
So I get pulled over.
You
This
were also
guy's like,
18 or 19. I mean,
yeah,
you
I
were
was
young.
19, I think. So I give this officer like they're like, yeah, come on, yeah, what's the big deal? And I was like, God, I hope he doesn't call him because I think he might know I'm on the outs with his daughter. Like I'm not really sure. Apparently he did call him, and the guy's like, grill him or whatever, slam him. And I'm not going to say something to my father-in-law, like my pre-father-in-law, be like, hey, did you tell that officer to give me like a billion? I got like six tickets. I just paid him. Luckily, then like I got a notice in the mail. They're like, your license is gone. Now this is after I had a Miata, but I crashed the Miata so many times that it was just gone. And then I had like my dad's old like black Cutlass Sierra. So I didn't have a nice car by any means. You know what I mean? It was just
Mhm.
kind of like just the leftover car. My dad was going to trash it. He got a new car. So anyway, get to notice that I don't have a license like about a month later because I just paid all these tickets online or
Right,
whatever.
right.
I just paid it,
But
paid court
but each
costs.
ticket came
It's like
with
500
points.
bucks. Everyone came with points and I just lost my license for 6 months. So I got a bike and I rode my bike to the mall
Good
from
news
when I was like
is
19.
you live like less than a mile from the mall.
Right. So I pretty much like worked, but I'm trying to think back then, like, I might have just went to college with no license. I think sometimes I just did, or I don't understand. I'm trying to think about the timeline. I might have just drove without a license and just rolled the dice.
Yeah, because that's a
I
little
had
too
to
far to
have.
bike. And you
Yeah.
didn't you accuse your dad or you said something to him like you can't do that, can you? He's like, yeah, they can. Like it was just like matter of
Right.
factly because you got back together. You weren't broken up with Melanie
Right.
for that long.
No.
Sorry, wife one. You weren't broken up with wife one for
It's
that
okay.
long. And who did you date in the intermediate time there,
Biba
Mark?
Hilfman. Yeah, that was I shouldn't be using full names, but yeah, that was it was a girl. Her father was like a studio musician, and she had all these pictures and stuff. She's from California, and she had all these pictures of like her with the Bangles and her with he was in Air Supply.
Yeah,
He
her,
was
her
all
dad
these
was in Air Supply.
pictures. So so every time I hear like an Air Supply song, I kind of crack up. So
And what was your lame ass? I just remember too much about your life, I guess. What
yeah.
was your lame ass? How did you flirt with her?
Oh, I don't know. It was in Western Civ class, and I think I just asked her. I don't remember
You
exactly how I.
complimented her boots like
Oh, so dumb.
the lamest of like effeminate Mark moves.
It works.
I like your boots.
Hey girl, I like your boots. You want to go out? Yeah, that was and then they both then I was kind of overlapping and they were in the same Italian class and I had a pea coat. I had wife one's pea coat and I had it and then I gave it to this girl to wear and then she wore it and they had Italian class together. They're both taking Italian.
Yikes.
They were dating Italian. None of them they didn't speak Italian like at all,
No.
even remotely. So whatever was going on,
Did they have the hands at least?
no,
That's half of the Italian language.
no. So, but they both figured out that I was dating both of them, and they
Yikes.
both came in to work at the comic shop, and then they came in arm, and then and there was someone in the store at that time, and then they said to me, like, they both looked at me, and they're like, and I was like, all right, and they put the peacoat on the counter, on the comic book store counter, and then I remember the girlfriend, not pre-wife one, said, "Oh, he hates this," and then pre W one was like, "No, he loves this. He thinks this is great." And I was like, "Yeah, she knows me better," and I married that one for
Yep.
a time.
It worked
Um,
out for a generation.
yeah, yep,
I think the closest I got to getting caught dating two girls. So I was dating one girl and dating another girl. And we went to the movies, went and saw Dragonheart. I remember the movie Dragonheart. So I'm taking my one girlfriend to see the movie. Girlfriend two shows up with her family. And I'm like, good. And I'm like, what are you seeing? She's like, Dragonheart. I'm like, oh, crazy.
Dragonheart with
I'm here with a bunch of
Dennis Quaid,
friends. Yeah, yeah. So and Sean Connery as the voice of the dragon.
and that was like a pretty heavy CGI
Yeah, yeah.
fest.
That was the first CGI dragon movie post Jurassic Park. It's like we can do dinosaurs, we can do dragons.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So
I never
I
watched it
was
again. I don't think it aged.
I haven't watched it either. But like I was sweating, dude. I was like, and luckily I jetted out of there with my girlfriend, I was more serious with.
Mhm.
Oh, I'll see you after the movie or something. Well, my friends will meet you, and I'm like, nope, I gotta go.
Gotta go.
Sweating.
Credit one.
I was more nervous about. I was trying to keep girlfriend one. Girlfriend two was on the side, but I liked her a lot. Like she was definitely my backup
Right,
in
right.
case G1 didn't. G1 and G2.
G1, G1 was always better, just like Transformers.
Yes, G1's always the original. G2.
Wow.
G2 was cool. G2 was very progressive in her ways, I
Oh
guess.
boy.
This is
It's
a
an all
comic
fair.
podcast, people. This is a
Right, right,
comic
right.
podcast.
It's
And
an
we are
all
getting,
fair.
where did this start off at? You getting tickets, movies? I don't know.
I don't
What were we
remember.
talking about? Christmas? Oh, Christmas. What's a good Christmas comic book memory? And you went on about your
Oh
father-in-law
yeah, my
giving you the
father-in-law
Hellboy,
bought. Yeah, he bought me a bunch of
the five.
And I guess yeah, he got me like yeah, I think I'm pretty sure he got me like 1 through 5. Like it was kind of nuts, and I feel like I
The
shouldn't have had that.
My
Not
two
that many.
favorites is the when I started really getting into comics. Seriously, I was like 13. My parents asked for a Christmas list, and we were always poor. But this year, my dad had gotten a better job. He's like a Teamster truck driving job, and I asked for a bunch of trade paperbacks, and they're like, "What? This is all you want?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is all I want." And they went around and got me like half of them. It was like McFarlane's Venom collection,
Oh, okay.
Craven's Last Hunt, greatest
Mm.
Superman stories ever told, greatest Batman, greatest Joker. You know what I mean? They just
Yeah, you
went
still
and
have
got
those.
me.
Still have a lot of
Yeah,
those.
yeah, it's super important to me. They're super like my parents worked their ass off to get me all those hardcovers and trades, and they
Mm.
got me a McFarlane Spider-Man T-shirt, and that's like all I wanted.
Right, right,
This
right.
the second Christmas memory is that I ordered through the store this Bottle City of Candor through the store,
Mm.
and it was expensive. So I said, "Oh, what you can get me for Christmas is Bottle City of Candor." And every day I would come to the Legends, our store, and I'd go into the back room, and there on the top shelf was the box because we set it aside for me to especially, I especially ordered it. And every week I'd go there, and that box was still there. So Christmas Eve, I was at the store, and I'm like, that box is still sitting up there. They didn't buy me this Bottle City of Candor. Christmas morning, wake up, they got it for me. But what they did was they'd open the box, taken the Bottle City of Candor out, left the box at the store,
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
so I wouldn't realize that it was there. And you know
Wow.
what? Because it's within reach,
I thought
Bottle
you were,
City of Candor.
I thought you were just gonna bring Black Star out and be like, "Here's Black Star."
Here's Black Star. Yeah, this thing is awesome. It lights up.
Oh, really?
You ever see this?
Now that's one of the early like I feel like really early in all that DC Direct stuff it was like all really good stuff, and then I feel like as time went on, everything got worse.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
love this. It's little city inside, little floating cars.
well, Jax in there and Mon-El.
Right, right, right. No,
Hmm,
they'd be in the Phantom Zone. Mark.
that's true. Well,
Mark.
I know we'll cover that soon. We're gonna cover that soon. So reviews day, yeah.
All right.
Somehow we'll have to let's get into it. We got to do the day here. Here we go. Let me get it in screen share. Pretty big, and it's funny. We go kind of in order, and I think the last 2 or 3 times this book has been out, it has been my favorite book. So
Yeah,
let me
well, I
see.
agree with you. This is a really great book. This team is just killing it. Look at this cover.
Boom. Yeah, I mean, um, and again, all we do, I feel like it's the same. I
Yeah,
know it's some of the stuff is exactly the same. But
we
knowing what we know about the arm here, that we know a little bit later on, I guess
right.
I'm a little lost in this. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in this cover. But again, same thing that the Jordy Belair of it all is kind of nuts. Now this I didn't realize who this was at first, but
Yes. At first, you think it's Barbara Gordon. That's my first
actually.
like.
And then I
I'm
thought
like,
it was going to be Etta Candy because Etta Candy is kind of her sidekick in this issue. She kind of becomes like almost like a sidekick in this, a
right.
little bit, a helper, you know.
So it's like I at the first look, I'm like, oh, that's that Barbara Gordon. Then I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
I'm like, who else could it be? I'm like, yeah, it's. I knew exactly what it was after my initial guess. I only thought it was Barbara Gordon for like 2 seconds. My comic brain goes, nope. Who else could it be?
Kristen Wiig.
Yes, it's
Um,
Kristen Wiig.
God, what bad casting. Seemed like good casting,
It seemed like good casting because she was going up in the world. She'd had her movies,
right?
she had hits. She was a good writer. She could kind of play weird looking and also kind of hot. Like she can do it.
Yeah.
She's one of those chicks that's kind of like that. But like,
So
I don't know.
okay, so for the
But
audio, I have to correct it because you usually correct it. All right, so we're looking at Absolute Wonder Woman #3, and then a character that's in right in the first, basically like a short hair Barbara Gordon looking person with
yeah,
coffee.
glasses,
Um,
red hair, little ponytail. Like,
is Barbara Bonera is outside of History Museum, so we should have kind of that should include us in a
oh,
little
that's right.
further,
And they also called her Barbara.
right?
So why else,
So
think Barbara Gordon? Oh yeah, Barbara Minerva. Who's the other DC Barbara?
right, right, right. So, but I mean, again, just kind of page to page, the team up and down is just ridiculous. The team up and down was a Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman, and even having this kind of felt very movie like too. Look, it's in like a vase, right? It's in like a it's in a
Yes.
complete vase, which could be at hold on, sorry.
Hey, Bear, shut up, Bear. You get your dog butt and you shut up. You shut up, Bear. I will kick you in the dog nuts.
All right, one of my neighbors is having family over. God forbid. You're really protecting us, buddy. You're doing such a good job. But I can't believe I feel so protected. So protected. But yeah, to me, like the line weight on all this stuff is kind of nuts, though, right? Because like, look, the line weight isn't that much different than the bottom left panel to the right panel. Like the line weight's almost the same, you
This
know?
dude must love drawing because he's bringing everything to the table. Like he doesn't have to do all this. This is
Right.
so much work. He doesn't have like this could have all been silhouettes, but no, let me draw the inside of the lines. Look at all these people around Wonder Woman. You could have just had half her body in front of a table. But no, he's putting all sorts of soldiers behind her. He's got perspective. Good, you got the table, you got the guy sitting at the table. It's almost a tragedy that she has to talk because how much shit are
Oh
they
yeah.
covering up?
Right. Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
yeah, you figure he's not blocking. Like so, for example, like in a lot of the digital art, they may not know where things are. Whereas I feel like even Simonson, especially because he was more of a design major and almost like half lettered his own books or
Right.
had it specified. And Kirby, even the same thing, he would kind of just write and then uh, like Mike Royer would just erase and just really letter it. You know what I mean? Like he would ink
Mm-hmm.
it and then letter it right over top.
Mm-hmm.
Just erase what Kirby wrote. Kind of wrote almost dialogued it as he was making it. This is a little bit different. Yeah, you figure that, and it is a shame that it can't be. You know, we talked about this when digital comics first started. I wish, and sometimes some of the books do this, where in the supplemental material they'll have like pencils, and it's cool in a digital realm when you're going like, okay, here's pencils, inks and colors, letters, like you can see.
Yeah, they
I
would do these
always
special books.
theorized, right. I just feel that, and now we see the file sizes are pretty big. I feel like all of them should have that option. I feel like all of them should have a little side and you just click on it and it can just you can look at all
Yeah,
the
especially on the
layers.
Marvel and DC apps. Like I know they take up a lot of room, but like, yeah, here's the book, and here's the Marvel. They call it the Marvel edition, the DC edition, the breakdown, the creator,
The
the
director's
creator
cut,
version.
yeah,
Yeah, director's cut.
they would call it that, where they would have the script in the back. You know, but it's a visual medium, so I don't necessarily those scripts in the back just bore me because I'm not
I'd
I
never
can't
read
do it.
another writer's script. It's just like a shame.
It's not. It's just not. It's not in what we want. You know.
But like,
Um,
it's different. You're right. It is a visual medium, so it's more interesting to see the pencils, you know, to see the inks, to see the colors. Like that's interesting to us.
I guess design wise, the only thing that potentially bothers me is I understand the sword, right? The sword is from basically like probably Final Fantasy, and that might even be ripped off from something else. But I feel like the Final Fantasy with the big sword, which is Cloud, I think I don't know. But that big sword is kind of what I've always thought of. So multiple characters throughout time. I think Magic has a sword like this now in Marvel.
Right, right.
Um, uh, so I guess looking at her arm here, and we'll get to that in a second. Is that like a spell? Do you think? Like, because everything is a lot of magic here. Is that a
Yeah, it's some
spell?
sort of magic and technology mixed, I guess. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, but I love. Actually, I zoomed in on this. Look at this.
Yeah,
Because also, he could zoom in and do the face, but just decided to not. You know, but it's kind of funny. You have such a heavy zoom on the top, right? You know, most people aren't going to draw that much of the eye or the whatever that's called. You know, whatever that thing's called. I don't even know what it's called.
what
But yeah,
the eye, the cornea, the
I
iris,
guess whatever the
the
little thing
pupil,
is where your sleep
the tear
goes.
duct.
Yeah, I have no tear ducts. Um,
Yet you cry so much. It's a weird
I'm
irony.
all cried out over you. Yeah, just I think that like again, same thing. The line weight isn't too much different. Looking at it here on the zoom in, it's not too much different than her hair there. It's just nuts. It's just like you said. I'd like to see potentially what uh his original artwork could look like. And again, this guy's relatively new. I don't think it's been more than 3 years or so since his name's been around. I don't think he's been around longer than that, 3 to 5 max.
Right.
Um, you know, I only noticed him last year when he did like a Scott Snyder book, the dark whatever he had, dark something wildfires. So yeah, just and again next week will be his Batman Dark Patterns too, and that'll look different because he does different line weight there, different colorist,
Different
and
colorist,
yeah, we'll get
different
into the art with
different
the
mood.
different colors later
But
too.
he still does an incredible job with the details.
Yeah, and I wonder did this thing know about her arm? Look at that.
Yeah, look how concerned she is because it's going for that arm.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Blah.
And then you get the story.
Yeah. Right. So
What a what a sacrifice.
this book surprised me. I was like, oh God, like because there's a couple things. I think this was really good. So basically telling that was to get him home. Is that kind of how that was figured
Yeah,
out?
yeah. It was a spell to get him home.
Right. Okay. So this looking at this here now, then she basically unspells it or whatever, takes the spell
Right.
away, so her arm isn't ripped off or whatever. I guess it's better for her, but yeah, just I think all of this, like look at the zoom. I just think that the way he draws her over and over again, and this to me feels so much like the first Wonder Woman artist, the H.G. Peter. Like it looks so much like that with some of their faces that I don't think anyone's really picking up on. And I guess this is something she has in her utility belt. She's like, I'll just put this Furiosa arm on. No
Yeah.
problem. I have that in my bag, which I guess might be coming from somewhere else. It has like a Hellfire, like a green Hellfire. Yeah, and then okay, so here's I guess okay, all right, so this is like a little bit of Photoshoppy up
Greek.
there.
It's Greek fire, Mark, because it's green. They ever heard of the Greek fire? Like some weird Greek thing that like we don't know how they did it, but it supposedly burns on water and all this other stuff.
Is that a real thing?
I think it's a real thing.
Oh well, I don't know. Shame on me. Shame
No
on me for
research.
not knowing anything else about any other culture but my
Didn't they
own.
talk about Greek fire in the last Indiana Jones movie?
That might be true. Yeah, I just like that movie so much. I tried to not think about it ever again after it was done. How dare you? But look
How
at
dare
the
you?
the carpet up here, and I guess that was done. I guess a couple pages back because there's a map that they're looking at, right?
Yeah.
That was some type of Photoshoppy. This map here, the map in the bottom.
Yeah. See.
We'll go into the next issue where Detective Comics this week, Mikhail Janin does some stuff probably digitally, and I think that he did a couple things this week, which
Yeah.
weren't bad. He's he's using the filters a little bit better, and I think that the figure drawing. But yeah, look at that Furious arm. Yeah,
Yeah.
just up and down. I just think that everything this whole team up and down, and again has basically an ally, and then this concept here of like I'm going to make everyone deaf,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a big idea
But she
that like
gives, but Barbara gives her name, explaining that she's a Wonder Woman. So
oh, never mind.
what we got?
I know. Off. All right. I'm only going to bring it up because it kind of worked. Our buddy Dan McGowan, just
Kansas
announced
Dan.
he just announced that his wife's pregnant. I
Oh,
kind of knew about it, but like I couldn't say anything,
right.
because
Now it's Awestruck Comic News. News break.
that is the
Ding, ding,
news
ding,
break.
ding,
Dan
ding.
McGowan, super fan, super awesome guy.
Yeah,
Plays with Kansas when as they're touring. Anchor, artist extraordinaire. He's a good
hmm
comic creator. Like I'd rather see comics out of him than music, but I think he'd rather do the music than the comics. I think he
I
loves
think
them
it
both
probably
pretty
pays a lot
equally.
more. Yeah, probably pays a lot
Music,
more.
music pays more.
Touring with
Music,
Kansas, I think probably does okay.
neither one pays until you break it in. But once you break into music, you can really get paid. But once you break into comics, you're just getting paid? Question mark.
Right,
Like we don't
right.
want
We
to talk
got
about page rates yet, but that is
yeah. We want to
future.
do a deep dive on inflation and page rates and what page rates technically should be, but and what sales technically should be, or how they can compute. We could divide. It's a math episode.
Yep,
Math
you love
episode.
your math. Math is hard.
I do love math. All right, so this is it. This is the finale of the Action Comics.
The 12th weekly issue of Mark Waid's run on Action Comics. I have
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
not
I
too
don't think
much.
it ever.
Yeah, not too much rockiness in it. Not up and down. Been relatively very consistent.
He wrote it like a monthly book coming out weekly. Because sometimes when people write a weekly comic or bi-weekly, they really spread it out more than it probably should be. But I did feel like we got 12 issues worth of story.
No, we did, and I feel like even to the point where it was a little taxing. Like I didn't want it. I was like couple issues. I'm like, okay, all right, I just read this. Like I like the breaks of it. I like
Mm-hmm.
the way comics come out. I don't think I sometimes think biweekly is probably too much. I think monthly is kind of perfect. Maybe that's just habit. But again,
I want to put out tri-weekly every 3 weeks. That would probably be the right amount
that would be fine. That would
for
be
a
fine
good
with me.
comic. A good comic coming out tri-weekly, you
26
get
weeks.
every 3 weeks you get a book. So that's I don't know, 18 books a year.
Yeah, and then you maybe swap an annual in, throw an annual in.
Yeah,
Um,
I love a good annual.
yeah, so just again, Clayton Henry, I think it's Tomomori on the coloring on the outside, but I only put a couple of pages in because there's a lot of it kind of spoilery through. But
Mm-hmm.
again, just really like the toughness of this, his brother right here,
Yeah,
basically. Um, yeah, just good. A lot of good money. I mean, again, I don't know if when and if this is ever going to get played upon again, or maybe Wade is going to keep this Monel storyline in his back pocket for a bit. We know that he would like Monel. Yeah, I'm sure he said it in
yeah,
his lots of interviews. I'm sure. I mean, again, one of our both collective runs of Legion that we like a lot is his Legion run. His Legion of Superheroes with
yeah.
Barry Kitson.
I don't know. I don't want to claim I know anything about Mark Waid's childhood, but he definitely loves Silver Age Superman and the Silver Age story where Superman gets a brother and then has to lose him. It's really heart wrenching. And who, as a little boy, I'm sure Mark Waid was, didn't want to be friends with Superman. And
Oh,
Mark Waid, as a child comic collector, I can only imagine. I don't know if he didn't or did or didn't have friends. I don't know if he was nerdy or not.
mm,
But signs point to a certain stereotype to where like you want more friends. Maybe he didn't have
right,
friends. Don't know. Don't know anything about Mark Waid's childhood. But
right.
like writing a story about your brother, and getting inspired by that early '60s story, which is a great Silver Age Superman. Is just there's a reason why people keep going back to it because it works so well.
I hope that it holds and hope it can translate because I know that's the James Gunn of it all. He wants to have that. Says that's the closest thing that he could say it's to an All Star
Yeah,
Superman, but All Star Superman does lean into a lot of Silver Age concepts.
it's about Silver Age like my favorite stuff is taking a Silver Age concept and making it modern, but not over modernizing it.
Mhm.
Like and what do I always go back to? Alan Moore Supreme. Alan
Mhm.
Moore Supreme is everything we want in a
Ring the bell,
Superman comic.
everybody.
Ring the bell, take the
Ring
shot.
the bell. Take the shot.
Liefeld,
Product
Alan
reference.
Moore.
How many minutes in are we? You know,
We're in pretty deep now. We give a
yeah,
bunch of life stories.
that's true. Yeah, I can't be mad at you for yeah, that's one of the best runs ever. They really need to get some type of edition out just for you, even for you. Get a
Just for
library,
me. Just
get a
for me.
library
I
edition
own
out.
the comics, but I want more. I want more,
Alan
more.
Moore.
That's right.
Yeah,
Nice. That's
so
a nice page.
yeah, I think this is great. I love his cape. I love Clayton Henry cape. I don't know what you can do with him. I don't know. I mean, I would say I'll throw him on the Flash. I don't know. I mean, I would like him to potentially rotate in as a Superman artist. I mean, I really liked his Superman. I like the fact that his Superman was just different size. I feel like an issue two ago when they had that fill in, it was like five super people around each other. Superman should always be a foot taller than everybody, just in my
If he
opinion.
doesn't want to be, you know what? He should definitely stick to the Superverse. If he could be a great Superman artist, villain, or one of the Action Comics, he can continue to do an Action Comics. Come back if Slot takes over. Why wouldn't you have Clayton Henry?
Hmm.
Why couldn't he be a fill-in story arc on Justice League? Honestly,
Yeah, he definitely did a lot more people than he's ever done, in books. So yeah, I wouldn't mind him on Justice League Unlimited as a fill-in. That's fine. I mean, if Dan Moore ever takes but he has taken issues off. He's taken some World's Finest issues off here and there. So I mean, now
but I,
he,
I think he's. I feel like maybe he's less likely to take off from Justice League and more likely to take off from Superman if he's still doing those two books monthly. Like I
yeah,
don't know how long he's sticking around on Superman for,
yeah.
but I
This
love it.
this I want to read all together. I don't know. I mean, I'll take a break from it a little bit, maybe in a couple months. Maybe they'll do some type of collection with this thing, and just have the Supergirl
Yeah,
trade. I'm not
for
sure
sure.
how they're going to trade this, but I think they should. I would package it if I was DC. If you want to call me, I would say package it with the being super, which was the Mariko Tamaki Joel Jones story they did a couple years ago, and then they did like a digest trade of that too, which is weird because they were trying to kind of throw it out in the marketplace of like the young adult. But I would put that's not that different of a Superman, and that was Mariko Tamaki as well. Joel Jones art. This is Skylar Partridge, and then Megan Hetrick did very good fill-in work where it didn't really detract from this at all. Did similar hair work. I know that sounds goofy, but even looking at this, I thought this page could have been zoomed in a little bit more, but overall, and again, it promises something. Superman Daring Adventures will continue in 2025. What does that mean? So vague. So vague. It's very vague. That's
Yeah,
okay. Probably
I
has
dig
to
it.
be. You know. Um, this is probably tough. It's a
Batman, The Long
here we go.
Halloween, The
The
Last
last
Halloween.
Halloween,
Right,
tribute to Tim Sale,
number 4.
yeah, 4 of 10. So I just really think it's crazy that there's this much Tim Sale just Batman art around that they can have 10, 11 issues, 12
He,
issues.
people love
Yeah, a lot of
commissioning him.
sketches. Right. So a lot
You
of
know,
these are commissions that have been handed back and this is Chiarello on colors. You would think it'd be Dave Stewart, but in the book itself it says it's Chiarello colors. So
okay,
this is the alternate cover, which I think is nice. This is one of the best packages too, because they have an interview in the back with the artist itself, how they were approached, who they worked with before. Cliff Chang does have a little bit of a history with Mark Chiarello because they were both working at Marvel as editors, and they worked peripherally together in Vertigo. So they, he was an editor before, assistant editor and editor before, kind of going into art. I put this in here for you because I'm not sure if you saw this. This to me
yeah,
feels like as an Ian Churchill variant cover.
right.
Ian Churchill of Coven fame. We say Coven,
Coven,
Cable. Cable was the original Jeff Loeb
yeah, during a Jeff Loeb
connection.
run.
Hmm.
Um, Heroes Were Born Avengers.
Yeah.
He took over after Churchill.
Yeah, the
Not
Joe
Churchill, after
Casey new X-Men. He was an Uncanny X-Men
yeah,
alternate
while
to
Grant Morrison was doing New X-Men.
Grant
Correct.
Morrison quietly. Yeah.
This is it's a cool cover. It's very it's not as crosshatchy as Ian Churchill can be. It's very he darkened it up. The sticker lines, especially on Batman. I
Yeah.
would have Batman doesn't really look like Churchill. Robin does, but you know
Right.
what? It's cool nevertheless.
Yeah, I think it's cool that he didn't do an exact Churchill style. I feel like this is like lunchbox art almost, right? Like I feel like this is key art. This is almost, it feels like very 90s key art that would be on
Also,
stuff.
the bat signal turned into a pumpkin for Long Halloween looks so damn cool. I know. I think other people have done that, right?
I
Have
don't
they?
think on the bat symbol. I think and a pumpkin. I think that I don't
Yeah,
think they've done it in the
that's a signal. Okay,
actual bat signal, but I'll take it. That's fine
it's
by me.
cool.
So this is Cliff Chang art here. I,
A really cool drawing of the Batmobile crashing into the Batcave. But it's like it's tricky to read comics for some people. Like you and I'm pretty focused on trying to stare at the panels to the left, telling a story
mm.
before my eyes gloss over to the Batmobile.
Yeah, but in the splash, it's kind of hard to not look at the action. You know what I mean? Like the
Yes.
action. We've been talking a lot about pacing in comics, and we like for the first 7 pages to be kind of smack in the middle of stuff.
What's
This is the first couple of pages, which I don't have here, is just Batman being like chopped up, like just like stabbed, and just like
yeah.
being hurt majorly because he's in there, but and it has like an autopilot. But I do like this. They're playing chess, and he's like, "This that bad. It's coming a little fast, right? That
You
Batmobile
know,
coming in a little fast."
it's funny. Like traditionally, you would not that you want a whole page of just them playing chess, but like traditionally, you'd have them playing chess, and then you're like, "What's coming?" Then you turn the page of either Batmobile. But like, if you're trying like us to not pay attention to what's happening, you're building the stress. Like you can almost like it's coming, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's what I mean. Like it's there.
Yeah,
I don't
even
know.
if you did a 3 and 3, if you did a 6 panel page and that three, and then you just see like the headlights, headlights,
Yeah,
headlights. So
this isn't a
then
this isn't a failure. I'm just saying
no,
it's a really nice page.
no,
It's
and these
just
are chunky. I want to say these books are 30 some pages. I don't think it's that, but this was pretty brutal too to have that the decision of blood. There's a lot of blood.
as a
And
lot of
have the
blood.
stalagmites down, is really just a good, really cool perspective. I think that Chang did less of a Tim Sale impression, but I do like all the work here. I like the insert. I know that's a Jeff Loeb insert panel, essentially with him thinking about, and it's all from Robin's narration through the whole book because Batman is kind of like dying in this entire issue. So, um, but really fun because then he jumps and he figures out I got to go. I need help, so he goes to go get Catwoman. The interlude here is Solomon Grundy breaking out uh, Harvey's wife. What's her name? I want to say Dula Dent, but that's someone else, right? Dula Dent is that's
Maybe his daughter.
right. That was the original Harley Quinn, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They were
So
like,
that's
could be
not
the
this
Joker's
continuity.
daughter, could be Harvey's daughter.
Dula Dent, Dula, get it? But yeah, this was pretty. I think his Grundy's great.
Yeah, no, this
Look how
Grundy's really good.
clean this is. Look how clean that art is. Whew, that's really fun.
Reminds
Great
me of
coloring. That's Dave
reminds me of the
Stewart.
way Hardman drew Red Hulk when what's the name Hardman was drawing Red Hulk after
Jeff,
McGinnis.
yeah, Jeff Parker. Was that
Yeah, the Jeff Parker, right,
Remender
right.
and then Jeff Parker?
I don't
Um,
I don't think Vermender did it. Right, just went from Loeb to Parker, I think.
I think so. Yeah, I thought Remender had something in there, but that's okay. Um, but yeah, just really, really solid. This I thought was pretty intense. And I like, oh, and if you read the backup is that he drew, I guess he drew Grundy to like not monstery enough or something like that. He was told by Chiarella to make him or like basically make him uglier, make him scarier. I guess he drew him
Hmm.
too clean. But I like this, and he just did a Catwoman Black Label book. So he has some of his, but this feels very much
That
like that
that
Tim
he
Sale.
wrote.
He wrote Andrew and I think
He wrote
colored
and
too.
drew. It
I
was
think I
good.
think he I think he did everything.
My problem with that, I don't have a problem with that book, but I think it was coming out at the same time as like Tom King's Batman Batcat book,
Mm,
Batman Catwoman, where like that was taking place in the future, but also Cliff Chang's Catwoman book was taking place in the future.
right, right,
So it was
right.
kind of like it was throwing some people.
Yeah, I didn't finish it. I think I probably had that problem with it as I was reading too many things. I
And
was reading the
because
Batman book main.
Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok's Three Jokers was coming out at the same time as Joker War. Tiny Ian's Joker
Yeah.
War. So it's like bad timing, people.
Yeah, that got buried. I feel like that never got the right audience there. But this almost feel this I thought this page looked a lot like I think that I mean I think it looks like of course it can look like a Mazzucchelli Catwoman in the back because that's kind of that design. But
Nah, that's cool.
yeah,
Thumbs
very
up.
very good. And then you have this sad Robin get her a blindfold, so that's really fun too. I guess I guess he did he blindfold her when she got there? I don't remember. They don't show you that. I guess she just shows
No,
up.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah,
right.
thank you, Alfred. So all this these couple pages here were pretty intense. But I like that insert. Those insert panels are really great. Really really great. Uh, now this was the least liked page for me, just because I feel like Cliff Chang couldn't get himself to draw like a Sale the Tim Sale Joker, and I don't know who's doing the next issue. I don't remember. But look at that. Like this was, I
Yeah,
guess, a sketch or something. Like his Joker is like crazy. But I
it's
love the
crazy.
coloring
It's
on this.
creepy.
Look at the coloring of the logos and just the stark coloring of one, two, three, four, like five
No,
colors max.
it's stark lettering.
Tony Stark lettering. Well, yeah, but just great. I love it. Oh, I wonder if this is like maybe not traditionally colored, but
Hmm.
do you see like look at the orange? The orange is kind of going over the black a little bit. You know what I mean? It almost feels like it's and you can do this and you can do this in Procreate. You can have the black and then you can have it come backwards. You can have the blacks over top and then you can layer them under it and have it seep through. Or here it looks like it's kind of almost colored over top. You know, like the orange is colored at seemingly over top right there. So does my cursor show up when I do this?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So yeah, so that's fun. Oh great. Like I need a laser pointer. It's like a laser pointer. Awesome.
You need to start coloring somewhere.
Yeah, I should. I really should. But I'm not. I don't think I get mad at myself because I don't have like the right color theory. So I think I try to do something, then I look at it and I get mad at it, and then I'm out.
Isn't it
So
funny that you could have such great taste in colors and look at all these shades and things, but then when you go to do it yourself, you're like, ugh.
well, that's what amazes me. Like this book, this kind of that kind of dovetails right into this and segues excellent into this because he's doing everything up and down. So Mikel Janon's doing everything up and down, including like the fading of the background. Maybe this is a real picture, or some of it could be a real picture or photoshopped in. Like those pipes behind Robin, that's not, he didn't draw that, but that's okay. Like I feel like this is, and I love the size differences between Robin and Batman here. I love it.
Yeah.
This is a great looking Damien.
No,
Great.
it is. I was really looking at this. I was really looking at this comic.
Yeah, this page is nuts. Because again, you mean to tell me he's doing all this stuff up here, like in the monitors, and then having uh And I like what Oracle's wearing too. But look, you even have like a surge protector down there with like some cords and cables.
The thing is, this guy's, you can sit down and tell yourself to do a page a day. That's the McFarlane way.
Mm.
But like some of these people got to realize, hey, I can sit here in my house, just on my computer, listen to music, podcast, have shows on in the background, or I could be like out digging ditches in the rain. So like some of these guys don't mind working a 14, 15-hour day. If you take, you take them out right amount of breaks, you get up, you move around, do all the stuff you need to do. But I think that's like this guy must love doing the art. Like he knows what he's doing. He's on a big tier Batman book. Like he's putting his all into this. Will he do this forever? I don't know, but he's definitely doing it here.
Yeah, like you have like stuff like you even have almost like a surge protector like falling off of Oracle's desk at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like you have so much stuff going on that yeah, you have to kind of layer this in you and you have to love it. Like Hayden Sherman loves the penciling and the
Yes.
inking on stuff. Like this guy's like, well, I am the master at this. This is a different talent. Hayden Sherman might be setting up the colorist, setting up Jordi Belair, but this guy's doing everything up and down, including coloring. So you mean to tell me that like just the letter goes in and does stuff?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, geez, like so you're doing like cellular reconstruction stuff here. You know what I mean? Like there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff going on. But I love the size. I love the size of this Robin. And I guess it's a slightly I wonder who redesigned this. I wonder if that was a Dan Mora design or maybe this is his design, but then Javi Fernandez is doing the Batman and Robin book, which I don't think is necessary. I feel like I haven't liked any of that just yet. That's the Philip Kennedy Johnson one.
Right.
I haven't really liked that so far. I
I
like
haven't
this
really,
Batman
I
and
haven't, I
Robin.
haven't, I haven't really dug in, but like I really like this.
I like this. And I think that and I even zoomed in there. Like look at that. So you can see. So here you clearly see that of course like that background's going to be that, but it doesn't matter. If you're giving me enough around, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I don't care if you utilize some of that stuff. But John Byrne utilized a lot of that stuff when he was doing Wonder Woman, but he would want to tell you about it. He's like, "Look what I like. Look what I did." Like I'm like, "Yeah, I know." He did it in Spider-Man Chapter 1, I think. He designed the Peter Parker like room with the floating steps and stuff. No one really cares.
No.
You could do that and draw that, but he's like, look at the technology, I can do this. This guy's doing it, but like even if he had help with that, it doesn't really seem so. It almost looks like a Millennium Falcon bottom, yeah, like the way that those are up. Um, I just love the perspective of Robin jumping down this. This is just a very different, uh, new Robin, and I think that looks great, you know. And all this was kind of fun too. I thought this was kind of and that's kind of a take on the bottom panel of Batman and Robin. It doesn't have a spotlight on them per se, but I was thinking that Batman and Robin like spotlight cover. But look at the coloring here, the decisions to
Mhm.
make the bleeds and the purple and the purple pinks, greens, um, and then the action. Again, listen, give me the
It's,
action. We're
it's
still in the
really great.
first 7 or 8 pages. I feel like we should do oh, I don't even want to call it the Liefeld count, but it's kind of what we refer it to, have a seven, 7, 6, 7, or you know,
Right,
uh,
right.
but you have to do this. You have to have the action in. Yeah, I think his Batman's excellent. I think the Batman's excellent. And look, even this, like them leaving, Jesus. Like there's definitely the sizing is there, the power of the Batman is there, the cape is really wonderful. The coloring, I like that. Like even so, then you could even go in the detail of Barbara up top there. What she's wearing is kind of falling off. It's in the last page. I think I even have it here. It's even cooler looking. Like it's coming off like her shoulder and stuff, which is I'm a fan of. Yeah, and I just zoomed in on. I've been noticing more and
Yeah.
more. I don't know. I've been noticing that this one's it's actually like messier, right? I mean, you zoom in, it's actually, sometimes you zoom in and it's cleaner. This is actually messier zoomed in. Huh. And once we get to Dan Moore a little bit, there's a little bit Dan Panosian, new Panosian. We should have a name for that. And even this, the lighter texturing of the wrinkles on Bruce's face, that's almost like Quitely, right? That's like
Yes.
a
That's
lighter,
very quietly.
yeah.
Wait, what's the name of this company? Th- Thermes.
Theromise.
You know what's funny? Do you ever see what the heck? You ever hear about the woman who claimed to make the blood machine? Oh, this is interesting. Oh, it's really interesting. She made this machine. You're supposed to be able to tell, like, from a drop of blood if you had all these diseases or stuff. But it never worked out. It was always a scam. It never worked. But I think the
Hmm.
name of her company was Theramin. It was something very
Oh.
close to this. They
Hmm.
made a Hulu show about her with Amanda Seyfried played her.
Oh, that's the yeah. What her name is?
Dropout?
Elizabeth Holmes. Is that who that is?
Yes.
Something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah.
Name
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
company. Oh, this might be an Elizabeth Holmes kind of deal, you know?
Inspired. Yeah. And she was. That's the thing. The thing was, is she was charming, right? That was kind of the whole gig. Is
Yeah,
that
she
she
wanted to
was
be like
super charming.
the female Steve Jobs.
Right. 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 So
You know,
that
she
was
was
the thing.
watching
Is she
him.
got a lot farther than she should have with her company that wasn't real company. You know.
Right.
Yeah. That's supposed to be good. That series is supposed to be pretty good.
No, I liked it. I did watch that series. That's what maybe
I,
I'm like looking at. I'm like, oh yeah, I think her name of our company was like Theramin or something.
So I don't love, again, I don't think that Bruce would be doing this still. I said that in the last issue. I just don't feel that he'd be taking like experimental drugs from some person.
When I thought I had a good argument against that, but my argument kind of got beat this week because he's like, I can't recognize some of these elements. I'm like, oh, then you wouldn't be taking it.
Right.
That's where I had to change my mind about it because I said to you, I said Bruce Wayne knows everything that's in this. Like he's not going to
Right,
take
right, right.
something he doesn't know.
Right.
So when we go in deep, which is what we do, that's what I noticed.
Deep. We're going deep.
I know.
Um, and and this is the kind of this is the Bruce Wayne I like. I like the Bruce Wayne that I like the it's almost like a Christian Bale Bruce Wayne, where he's,
Yeah.
he's kind of a like a, he's definitely a bit of a player. He owns everything, like so even this here, where she makes fun of him, she's like, you just want to buy everything that you like, including me, in a way, she's implying. And he's like,
Right.
oh, no, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then she's like, you probably own this restaurant. He just kind of changes the subject. Then he does own the restaurant, which is pretty fun. Because she just decides to leave, gets a little tense, or she gets paranoid about something. Someone's talking to her, either in her ear. Same thing when she was giving him something. She has someone pulling the strings.
Right.
Also really good. This reminded me a little bit of Eric Larson, where Eric Larson would remember he would have like Mary Jane's leotards would be like wallpaper or something. He would do a pattern like
Yeah.
here
Yes.
in Photoshop or whatever, like whatever you're using Procreate or using whatever. He did the pattern a few different times on her dress, which I think is really fun because it doesn't look like that. That doesn't look like um yeah. And I want to say
It's
that
moving
there's different
around like a Rorschach.
texturing.
It's moving around like a Rorschach.
Yeah, look at but even the inking here, this is similar to the Tim Sale drawing in the back where they're coloring over top of the black. Like, I mean, again, he's doing everything up and down. This is also something pretty fascinating. But how many layers is he doing? Look, like he's not drawing the foliage back there, right? He's not drawing the city skyline. Um, I just think it's great, dude. I think this guy's awesome. So I forgive it. I'm forgiving and I wonder if this is Tom Taylor's deal, man. Like, I feel like the Bruno Redondo storylines, I didn't like a lot of those, but I just kind of gave it a pass because I really like looking at Bruno Redondo stuff. Is this like Tom Taylor's deal?
I really
He's like,
like
I'm going to
Nightwing.
like, I don't know. There were certain things I didn't really buy. Same thing where I don't feel like Nightwing was characterized correctly. I feel like here he isn't characterized correctly. This made me feel like Watchmen too. They're fighting in an alleyway. They're beating people up,
Oh yeah, I for sure
you know.
felt that.
So this is a turn on, for them. And then good. This is cool. Listen, that's sexy banging. Bruce, great, great, cool.
Yeah, good for you, man.
But I also think from a branding perspective, you're really gonna have this like, and again, I wonder if this in post, I don't even know where we are anymore. Crap. Isn't that, I mean, look, you're really gonna have a USB drive. It's like gonna have like an Oracle symbol on it. I
I know.
I, I
Is
get it.
where's she getting that made at? She ordering them by the hundreds?
I don't know. And then, but I also want to say I don't really care, but I feel that Oracle as that logo has been broadcast to warn people in
Yeah,
certain
that's like her
storylines,
anonymous
right?
face, or like
Right.
Mr. Robot. Like that's her thing. Like that shows up too. It's more like a
Yeah.
terrorist thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But again, same thing, really light drawing here. And that's listen, that's the freedom you can have with this. I think that's pretty cool. And again, he's doing all the coloring. Yeah, look at that. That's why I zoomed in on.
That's fine.
But even then, look, even when you look in, and that's what we love about the digital stuff. You can zoom in and look at the light at the bottom of that second panel. You're not even seeing like this. That's clearly like a drawing or Google image. Who cares?
Yeah.
Again, I can't complain about it because it's not lifted in the aspect so far that we've seen with like people like Greg Land or other people that aren't good at it. You know, where a couple guys got recently AI fired, right? And like, Mateen and a few other these people got like fired from lifting too much stuff or AI and too much stuff. I don't mind it if it's assisting well. This guy's doing everything like room wise, so he doesn't want to draw a laptop top. Fine. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to draw the bag. I'm not drawing this bag.
Yeah.
But guess what? Like it looks like it doesn't detract from him drawing the character there. Like I don't know. He's doing all the right stuff. Now there you can see the lights in the background, right? You can see the lights in the apartment. Yeah, just really, really fun. So I forgive a lot of it because I want to see what the storyline's doing. And I just really think that you're doing that much work. How are you doing that much work? And what are you getting paid? I would love to know what the soup to nuts payment is.
Yeah, because he's got to be getting paid more
Three
than a
times.
penciler, or yeah, he's getting paid for all three. Are they trying to give him a deal? Is he? Because he's probably not. Like once you're doing it digitally, you're not really penciling and inking anymore. You're just drawing it, you know.
Right.
But you're fixing it as you go along. You're improving things. I don't know. I hope he's getting paid for all three. That's my goal.
Yeah, I would love to have very frank, off the record conversations with some of these people and be like, seriously, like are you doing this for necessity? Because we also know that people getting paid for different, my job, I feel like I do five different departments job at the same time.
Hmm.
Am I technically two to three employees? Probably sometimes, like, because I'm covering this or that.
When McFarlane said he started inking his own pencils, he says he started penciling a lot less. You know,
Mm, right,
so but he was still getting paid as a penciler and an inker. But he was still
right,
happy to say this in interviews even back then.
right,
So
right,
I don't
right.
know. It's interesting.
Get paid, get paid.
So once I picked up that theremin thing. Now the name of the process was like Sangirl, right? Do
Yeah,
you
there's Sangral in here, right? So it's kind of lifted direct, right?
right,
It's not.
right. So it's like what's that? That's like a holy grail thing, right? And the company's name's
Yeah,
Grail.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but sanguine is the act of like taking blood out of someone, right?
Mhm.
Exsanguinate is that when you remove blood from a body?
Right. Yeah.
And that's what they're kind of pointing at. Like some of this process is like from taking blood from kids. But guess what? That doesn't really work. Like they've actually scientifically like, oh, if you take the you always hear like, oh, old rich people taking the blood from the young.
Eat the
That,
baby's heads.
yeah, that doesn't really work. It if you
It's
hook up,
gross.
they did this experiment with two mice and an old mouse and a young mouse, and they were giving young blood to the old mouse.
Young blood.
That's right, young blood to the old mouse, and it did help the old mouse out as long as they were connected.
Mhm.
But when you disconnected it, it only lasted as long as the procedure had been in place.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah.
like if you had them connected for 6 weeks, well, then the older mouse gets some good effects for like 6 weeks, and then it stops. So it doesn't really like long term. It doesn't really work.
Young blood doesn't work on the old guard. See what you're saying?
There's ways to make your blood probably look younger. There's ways to get rid of dead cells out of it,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
The
Little science stuff.
plasma changes and stuff. Yeah, I know that that's a so being living in South Jersey, we know, especially through the pandemic and post pandemic, we both know people, and this is kind of a newer thing, who, rather than sell blood, or you could sell blood, but now they're literally selling the plasma out of the blood. And there's incentives that you can go to a place, and if you have like 8 consecutive donations of plasma, where you go in a room, they take your blood out of you and then put the blood back and take the plasma from your blood, and they're paying you $8 a trip. But if you do so many in this, you get like an $800 bonus. Like this was a relatively large South Jersey. One or two people, yeah. I know
Yeah,
two
yeah.
people that
I've
have done
actually
this.
I've actually suggested someone we both know to go sell their blood.
Yeah, yeah, to pay us money.
Yes, to
Like, you ain't doing much. Just go sell some blood. Give us our money back. Like,
but it's it's a lot. That's a lot of blood. Um,
whatever. It's a lot of money. Like, but that's what I mean. Is like, yeah, it's any which way that we can find it. But look, man, those groceries ain't cheap.
no,
It
no,
ain't
they're not.
easy.
No, they're
It
not.
ain't
And
easy.
so too much. We all got too much blood. You got too much blood. Just sell it.
Too much blood. Yeah, we'll get into that later in other reviews. Just
Yeah.
take some blood out.
All right. We got to get through these reviews. We're
Yeah,
still
here
on
we go.
DC.
I know, right? Here we go. So this, I was thinking about this, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday. If like, man, like pound for pound, page by page, this is the like. I feel like you should be spending. If you had to pay quality, you should spend $15 on an issue of this. You're not, of course, but
Right. Thank God.
right. But I'm just saying, like, for what you're getting, and again, I know you're okay with that doesn't feel like a Superman face. I can't deal with Dan Moore Superman. I love the female faces. Look at all of them. You got Dr.
No, no,
Occult,
they look.
which I
Wonder
didn't
Woman
know.
looks fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll give you on this one. The
she
Superman face
always
doesn't.
looks. She
It's
always
a
looks good.
it's a fine face, but maybe it's missing something. I think it maybe needs a little thicker. It needs to be a little chubbier, not chubbier, but wider.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird because again, he's
Like this is
drawing
more of a Bruce.
Superman. He's
This is more of
drawing.
a Bruce Wayne
I
face than
know
a Clark Kent face.
exactly, exactly. So I don't know, but his Batman. Look at his Batman. His Batman is a Jim Lee Batman. If you
That
cropped
is a Jim
out
Lee.
everything
Oh, is
and
that a
you
Jim Lee
said that was a
Superman?
Jim Lee,
That looks like
no.
a
Well, the Superman face there, I don't really mind because I almost feel like it's almost like a little bit of like an Art Adams eyes, yeah. Like I feel like he doesn't have Superman down, and they gave him the Superman book. They gave him the Superman book, the actual book, you know,
which yeah.
which is fine, but like, look, just panel for panel, I just think that there's so much. This is a little bit better coloring wise. I know last issue is Tamara Bonvillain, which I think I even put. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I had the right person because I know Alejandro Sanchez does the Superman book, which is next. But I just feel like you're getting so much in here. Who's lettering this? I don't know who that is, but good. Like a lot of again, I just think the layouts are really good. I feel like jumping back a couple pages here. We'll look at the scribbles here. I feel like there's a lot here. Oh, like he even has some like Kevlar coming out there. It's missing utility belt there. But even going back here, like look at I feel like he's finding like the new Panosian. New Panosian inks. I
Right.
feel like this is a new Panosian a little bit here. I love all this. I love all the Atom stuff.
Yes.
I love all of it. I think this is really good. Also, really interesting that like this guy's like, guess wearing this. He's like, all right, I gotta go get my powers back. Let me just put this on. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't really have his powers there. I guess that's kind of scary. He's gonna go fight this giant dude. All of it really, really great. All of it really, really, really great. This page again. This is what I'm saying. Look at how perfect this page is. Right? You got stance, body language. You got
Right.
creepy stuff. You got the coloring is out of control good here.
Got the
It's
eyes looking at
so
each other.
good.
Yeah.
It's so good,
Good body language. Good everything.
But
Very
it's not two of the same woman drawn, which we don't like when we see the guy who's drawn Wonder Woman now, Daniel Sampere. It's like the six of the same women across. There's a cover he has with all these women looking forward, and it looks like exactly the same drawing over and over again. And color that one a little darker, that one a little lighter. So here, where this just looks very specific, and I do like why they said the same thing. Why it's weird, but then they say, well, I speak with the wisdom of Athena, you carry the wisdom of Minerva.
yeah.
Greeks and Roman were not that so different. Great.
That's a very interesting sentence. That's a very
Great.
interesting comparison because most people just think that the Roman gods and in real reality, Rome just took the Greek gods and changed their names.
Right.
But it's
Correct.
funny they're like, oh, they're two different sets of gods. They're very different.
No. But this is what I'm saying. This is such a good page. I even zoomed in on the faces there. Great. This is a slight. I do like this. Dr. Called essentially explaining to this was a great Martian Manhunter 5, 6 pages, right? This
Yeah.
was basically and I love this because you remember how much I love Martian Manhunter. I love the Ostrander Mandrake run. Love it. Love that run. But I love, the unfortunate, probably never reprinted American Secrets, whatever the Martian Manhunter book that Gerard Jones and Eduardo Barreto did in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, might have been 89, 91, somewhere ish, right? 3 issue
Mhm.
prestige format, never been collected, but Gerard Jones, unfortunately, is a pedophile, right? Unfortunately,
He,
canceled.
so yeah, he had a bunch of, I don't know.
Bunch
He
of
was
bad stuff.
accused having a bunch of, I think, child pornography on his computer.
Yeah, so they can't reprint that. But great anyway, great story. He has a lot of good stories in Ultraverse too that I guess they're just not reprinting. But yeah, but
which
again,
which we're against. Listen,
I don't.
you separate the art from the artist. Don't take away money from
eh.
the Brayfogle estate or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's our biggest objection. So the objection we had recently when we talked about the reprinting of the Marvel DC stuff and then the amalgam stuff, the amalgam stuff.
mhm,
The amalgam stuff, you have
amalgam.
what do you have? You have Magneto and the Magnetic Men.
Right,
That's
right.
Barry Kitson. You have or you have the well, I guess Jeff
Did
Matsuda
yeah, Jeff
did the
Mazzulla
first
did the
one,
first one.
and then you have what am I blank on the X Patrol.
No, that was a Castle.
Hmm, I forget what else is in there.
Barbara Kiesel.
But whoever's drawing like the alternate, so if anyone's going to get reprint rights out of this stuff, and there might be nothing, there might not, there might have been really bad contracts there because who's publishing what, whose contracts what.
Yeah.
So who knows, but we just don't like anyone if there can be some type of reprint rights if one creator out of it is not
Yes.
promotable, or maybe they'll say, well, due to ethics clause, he or she would forfeit their future commissions, right? Same thing,
Hmm.
you can get fired for ethics clause of having stuff on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. There's all sorts of social media protections now. I can only imagine what went in the handbook this week. I got a couple emails. Sign your handbook. Sign your handbook. I'm like, oh boy, it means they're about to fire someone. They just made up a rule. The
Yep.
person's fired.
Yep.
So here, sign that. Sign that. So in case you did it, we can fire you, and you signed it.
Yeah. Every once in a while, we'll get a message in our diet, our boards. I'm like, oh, make sure you
Yeah,
whatever, whatever, whatever. And we're like, uh oh,
yeah.
somebody didn't do
Somebody's fired.
somebody didn't do whatever, whatever, whatever.
Right. You read the rule and you're like, oh no, don't do that. It's all very, very common, very, very common sense stuff.
Yeah.
Um, who is this? Who is Dr. Occult? I don't really know if I know. I feel like it's the archetypes. I'm like, yeah, it's a guy in a trench coat and he does magic, right, fam, stranger? Who is this guy?
Yeah,
I
that's
know who this is.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm in the same exact boat. I can't tell you where he's from, but I know him. I know the name. I know the character. I just never went about trying to read a bunch of Doctor Occult books, whatever he was from.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
gonna
who
be. He's
knows?
probably from like a DC showcase, and there's 6 issues Murphy Anderson drew or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I feel
Again,
like
no
whenever.
no research people.
Nah, but like what's fun, like, but I think it's also kind of fun where some stuff will come out, like that Johnny Double miniseries. Johnny Double, they tried like 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
and it didn't work. And then they're like, and then in Vertigo, they're like, Azrael was like, I'm just going to do a miniseries. And oh, there's this new guy because that kind of was the 100 Bullets team. It was the
That
same
was
colorist, letterer. The covers were by Chiarello.
writer, writer,
Uh,
artist.
yeah, just Dave Johnson did the covers there, but
It's almost like,
um,
hey, we're going to do a Johnny Double miniseries. Everyone loves it. We
we're gonna
loved it right
pilot.
away.
Yeah, we're gonna pilot this and see
And
if
it's like,
these
hey,
guys
you want
can.
to do a
Yeah,
follow up? Nope, we're doing our own book.
yeah,
100 Bullets, which did get optioned at one point.
yeah. I hope those guys made money. I mean, it's a bummer that that could not have gotten somewhere because that would have been a very easy. I guess the only thing that could have been what was the show? League of what was the show on CW where it was all the sidekicks and stuff? Legion of what was the side show they had with Heat Wave
Oh,
and
the
Constantine
Legends
and all
of
that.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I feel like
How could you forget Legends, Mark?
Legends of Tomorrow. But I to me, when that show first started, it was going to be like all the side characters from all the CW shows, and they were going
Right.
to change every season. Then they
Every season was
decided,
going to be a different cast.
but then they just kind of like, well, we already have these casts and they're under contract, and we could probably get them cheaper if we just kind of keep extending their contract and stuff. So then
Hmm.
they never did that. They'd have some extra guest stars in it. But I feel like with something like this, I want to say there was a show called Gun. Does that sound familiar? Where it was just literally you follow the same gun or like
Maybe.
yeah, there might have been some type of like offshoot thing that might have been something.
You know what? You're right. If we had gotten 100 Bullets, it probably just would have focused on like one person. Like it would have started to tell a couple of those stories, but then it would have went back to one main character.
Would
It's
have been
sad.
Luke.
I never finished the book. I got up to issue 50,
Hmm.
and I was real busy in the real world. The real world, I got real busy, and I just had to stop comics for a little bit. I still bought them. I just didn't read them.
Right.
I had 100 Bolts, which I don't think 50 was like that good. Did it have a bunch of did Jim Lee draw
For
something?
yeah, the 50 had I want to say they had like text pages and they had like a pin up by like Tim Bradstreet or Jim Lee and like it was just like it
It
was just
wasn't a great issue 50. And then I'm like, I think that's one of the books I dropped at the time. but I never got back to finishing it.
Right after 50, it kind of got better. Yeah, I would say 30 through 50 is fine. And then
Right.
51 to 59 is great. And then it falls off again. So that's the thing. And then I never finished it. And then when Brother Lono came out, because I like that character, which was in the teens and 20s,
Hmm.
that story on its own came out like 4 or 5, I think 4 years after it was over. And then even where they had to go back and recollect, they had its own separate trade. But then when they did the books and the omnibus, they include that now, where they didn't
As
initially, I
as
don't
as
think.
they should. Yes.
Yeah, but that I read, which is a prequel because he died, spoilers, in the
Ah,
20s or 30s.
ruined it.
Nah, he died, I think, before you're still reading it, but it doesn't matter because again, with any of these series, they can kind of go back like, there's a story we like them. Here it is.
That's right.
So
Listen,
yeah,
Hellboy's
so
dead. We keep getting his comics.
it hasn't stopped. He died 15 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, and it comes out every month practically.
Do we? I think we're ever going to get like Hellboy in Heaven. That'd be a good miniseries.
I thought we were supposed to get, or am I thinking of the Sin City Western? Were we supposed to get Hellboy in the West or something, or no?
We were. I don't know. Ugh, that's
Nah, maybe not. I think I'm making. I think I'm completing the 300. The
keep going.
wasn't there gonna
Sin
there was
City.
gonna there's gonna be a Sin City
Westerns.
Mobius
Yeah,
book,
yeah. Mobius was going to draw.
right? Mobius,
Morbius was going to draw with
Morbius.
plasma.
It's
Do you remember
Morbin
that on a
time.
Spider-Man cartoon? They couldn't say blood, so they just kept going around saying, "I need plasma,
Yeah.
plasma."
um, but just like look, there's just a lot going on here. So you can even have just this is probably a fast page, right? For Dan Moore, but it doesn't feel like it's a cheat, right? Where we see some pages they were just like, this is cheating. This is just like a quick
Yeah.
page, but this just kind of got heavier and thicker. Can you imagine my suffering? Imprisoned and abandoned on another planet for years and years. This is literally after he's told about himself here by someone else. He doesn't really say anything. He
Right.
talks about how he lost his powers, and then here, just giving this like proto parademon, just nuts. And then he turns into basically a parademon, like mirroring him.
Hmm.
And then he leaves, and then they show up. And also, again, look at the vocal acting. And this is what I want. Now look at Superman here, right? Dan Moore Superman. All I do is stare at Dan Moore Superman faces. But he doesn't quite have them, but he kind of has like the gray temples. Why? Just listen. If he's got a kid who was in his, how old was Jonathan before they sent him into space?
9.
9. Give him some gray, man. Come on now, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be a bad situation. I'm not saying you can change the costume, but like, I don't know. But I love the Wonder Woman. His Wonder Woman's just like fantastic. I think the Superman's a little bit better. I would have liked that Superman. Superman stature at the bottom. Again, good Superman
Yeah,
here.
that is good.
Ah,
All right.
here we go. Dan Moore again. We can't get away from this guy, right?
Yeah.
Break this up. Who is scheduling this? Break it up. Have us every other week. Give me Dan Moore every other week, not the same week. Because also it becomes very, 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 very apparent, if I didn't say very enough, that it's Alejandro Sanchez. So
Yes.
here, I think, and I said this to you earlier, I think Alejandro Sanchez agrees with me. I don't know anything about this person. I don't think, that he doesn't like Dan Moore Superman either. Because I feel like he's tweaking stuff. Not
Hmm.
really in here, in this, but I feel like, let me see. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that's a phenomenal page.
Yeah. Well, I zoomed in on this. I love this new thing. GI Joe, Real American Hero does this. It
Yeah.
did it with the Pelletier stuff, where it just has this extra, like, well, this basically, is a flashback. I even think the lettering is a little bit throwback as well. That's not newish lettering per se. Um, but yeah, anytime I like that there's always a major PTSD moment of Superman's death, of course, right? I feel like
Yeah.
they do this kind of a lot, and I don't care. It's not as bad as the pearls, the trope, the pearls Batman trope.
Right. Right.
But I do love this, and I think the coloring here is just like fantastic. But I do like this extra coloring of the
Yep.
of the
It's
flashback.
both. It both makes it look like a flashback, and it's like, hey, guess what? Comics were printed differently back then.
Look at how good Amethyst. Look
I
how
know.
great this is.
He
This is
went. He went
actually,
totally all out on her.
yeah. I want to say that, like, but I always think that I always thought that Amethyst is over designed. Always. That's what I think is kind of great about this. It's like, and even when they designed her a year or two ago, when Amy Reeder did it, where Bendis had his Wonder Comics line, right? He
Uh
wrote
huh.
Amethyst and the Wonder Twins and what was the other one? I'm trying to think. I read all of them. All of them were pretty good. The
They
Wonder
were pretty
Twins book
good.
were
Dial H for
was good.
Hero was really good.
Yeah, Dollar for Hero was excellent. But even when they did the Amethyst then was over designed. It was early Ernie Colon Colon.
Did they bring her back for New 52 first?
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe that's what I'm. But whoever did it a couple years ago, I'll plop it down there.
Yeah.
That's right. They I think they did an Amethyst in '52, and then they did it just now with Bendis, like revamp because Bendis really likes that series, and that's fine. Good, you know, that's fine.
It's a cool
But
character.
I do like that this is just going on, and I didn't put in Flash this week, but Flash went to Guitarist, and it said it on the cover, so I had to look through it because Warlord's going to show up. Warlord's in like 3 panels, and he wasn't drawn that great, so I didn't include
All
it.
right, that's fine.
Um,
Yeah,
so
I like this too.
here we go. Now we have so instead of having long hair, we already talked about. I don't know if that was on the news or here. I think it was on the news. We talked about Luther. So I guess that's easier for everyone to do. Yeah, they're just going to have here's Luther again, but he doesn't remember stuff or he remembers stuff. So here you have absent-minded Luther remembers some stuff. Remembers how she takes her milk or
Yeah,
takes the coffee. Okay, but this I think can work. Because this is good Luther. You know.
yeah. Good Luther is an awesome character, underutilized. When he shows up and he's good, he's helpful. I love that Luther, but
Yeah.
also, I like things going easy. I like things going good. When things go bad, I'm like, oh, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I meant to put interlude one, I think, in there, which was basically
Oh, Doomsday, like what? Because Doomsday's in a Black
Doomsday's
Mercy
dreaming.
solution.
Mhm.
Like you can't just put a Black Mercy on Doomsday. He's too powerful. So they have him in a solution of like I guess pure Black Mercy juice, and
Right.
he's just dreaming about destroying things.
Yeah, but I was thinking of the one with Jimmy Olsen, and was the Silver Banshee, and
Oh,
I was
that
watching
interlude.
TV, but I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know
yeah.
what are they watching?
The
She's not
voice.
moving her face. I don't know. She's not
I'm gonna
moving her
say the voice
face.
because the point is like her. She's got the Banshee scream.
Oh, I
See
see.
what I did there? The voice. All right.
I see what you did.
She's
I
watching
couldn't tell what
Darby
they're watching.
O'Gill. Oh, watching Darby O'Gill on the Little People.
Oh boy.
You ever see that?
No.
Oh my God, it's like Sean Connery, real young, pre-Bond. He's like, it takes place over in Ireland, and there's like leprechauns and a banshee that's real creepy if you watch it as a kid.
Mm.
But it's also like part musical, and he's singing a song. It's like she is my dear, my darling one's eyes are sparkling full of fun, no
Oh my
other.
gosh.
Yeah, that's all I
Wow.
remember of that song.
That's a lot. You remember all the songs.
I have a weird memory of just
We
songs.
were we were in a bar yesterday, Colonial Cafe, wonderful little bar in Jersey, Westville Grove.
Yeah, something the border of Westville and Woodbury.
Yeah, Westbury. But like literally, we were talking about the like Captain N, the Game Master, and the Mario and Lou
Oh,
Albano, and these drunk guys, like drunk, and they just walked out with us, and they were drunk, and I'm like, how many beers do they have? Let's just stay off the road for a little bit.
they had
Like
one.
they were
No,
rough,
they were
but
rough.
they were like trying. One guy almost fell over trying to get in our conversation. He
We
literally was just like leaning back. He's like, "What'd you say,
our friend
party? What'd you say?" It was
Yeah, our
crazy.
friend Walt's got his beard growing, and we're like, oh, you got to put a rubber band around that, like Captain Lou Albano. And then we
Right.
started talking about the Mario Brothers, because our friend Walt, we won't get into his t-shirt. So we are talking about the Mario Brothers, and I started like doing the Mario rap,
Right.
that evil Koopa and his troopers are up to misbehaving. The princess kidnapped Mushroom Land needs saving.
Yeah, you know all the lyrics
I
that
just,
because you did. I think on here we did Pizza Party a couple weeks ago. You
yeah,
did the whole thing.
that's right.
So we started doing this. This guy like literally almost fell out of his chair. Like just like so it was, Captain Lou. I know Captain Lou. I'm like, all right, great.
Yeah,
Um,
I was at a bar one time, and Vanilla Ice came on, and I'm just like singing with my friends, and I'm just like kind of jokingly singing it to them, but I did the whole thing. And two shot glasses get dropped down in front of me. And I'm like, who's
oh
this from?
wow.
And this dude's like, that's for knowing all the words to Vanilla Ice.
Oh
He
my
just bought
god.
me, he just bought me two drinks.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, that's Jersey. They're not counting the drinks, man. Forget it.
Nah.
So this is a whole date basically. Oh, yeah, and even when they left the amethyst stuff, that kind of resolved itself, and they just kind of keep moving on, which I
They
think is
they they
which I
did
think
a
is
good
pretty
job
fun.
because they didn't resolve it with the fight. They resolved it with women talking,
Right.
which would actually mean this book would be a lot longer if they really went into women talking. But sexist being sexist, it's
Well,
fine.
I put this in because I feel like did he get the memo about like David Cornsweat hair? I feel like this is kind of like very
Oh,
timely.
that's funny.
You know what I mean? Like, all right, you got to do the messy hair, and because usually it mirrors after, but maybe they plopped it in. Yeah, and this again, this is just the kind of the scope of Dan Mora, where you have the Justice League book, which we just looked at, but here you have a smaller Dan Mora, but then he's like, oh, by the way, remember I could do this too, and then he does this like really wide shot, which is really great. And I also like, and I we didn't mention this in Superman trailer talk in the news this week, but I was always against um, Zack Snyder costume, who just didn't wasn't bothering to put the symbol on the cape. I hate that. Put
Yes.
the symbol on the cape. Period. Like, and it is in the new Superman movie. It is right here. I know it can be difficult to animate or draw or whatever, but do your job. You know what I mean? Like that's
That's the
I
design.
hate it. I hate it not on there. I despise it. I hate it.
Listen, and Dan Moore's going to put it on there. If Dan Moore could put in cityscapes and all backgrounds, he's going to put the S on the key.
See,
He's
I don't like the
not using it.
Superman face. Look at the Superman face. I don't like that either. Supergirl, great. Superwoman back there, great. Even small. I don't know,
So
man. Confusing.
this is really interesting because their costumes are reminiscent of what Doomsday originally. When Doomsday showed up, he was in this costume. He was like all like secured
His
up.
arm
Like
was behind him. Is that right?
yeah,
Wasn't he
yeah.
like, yeah, he was basically bound and buried.
So are these the people that buried him?
I don't know. I love it. This is my people's funeral garb. We wear it because Doomsday has turned us into a living death.
Like is this society
You
just
exactly want forever.
advanced to get rid of Doomsday? That's all they know. Like is it Doomsday went to our world, destroyed it,
Right,
and now all they know is how to get rid of Doomsday?
right. I will
So,
grant you the
and they
same
just have
mercy.
such a hate, loathing for Doomsday. Yet simultaneously, Doomsday last issue was basically the herald of something better in the future.
Good. Yeah, good. Right, exactly.
So he's not good, but he's not like bad anymore. Like I don't know, but he's still bad now. Current
Right.
Doomsday still is crazy. Is you know what? Way to make me interested in Doomsday again. We'll always
Correct.
have a nostalgic love for Doomsday, but like, did they ever explain how he was buried in the ground? I'm not sure. I mean, I think we
No.
just thought like ancient Kryptonians put him there. We don't know.
Yeah, you tell you a little bit, Hunter Prey. I have to put up my Instagram tonight because I read my boards. That's why I like a little bit, every year we kind of all get together at least around Christmas time. We go to the movies and sometimes I have people back to my house, but I have three comic boards down there of it's I think 15, 16, something like that. I have about 50 slots of comic books down there. So I did an all Superman because, from the Superman trailer, I basically did like three boards of Superman, right? And I
Mhm.
have like kind of by era, and then I have the Hunter Prey up there. I have a Superman 75. I got one or two other Jurgens things up there, but overall, just kind of my fun era stuff. Some Superboy, some Grumman Superboy, some Bogdanov, some Steel. Anyway, but
That's cool.
I would like to reread the Hunter Prey because I remember really liking that when that came out because Jurgens, and this is what I feel like what it used to be with these prestige format is you would draw different than you normally draw. So, but now I feel like a lot of these books when they go to Black Label or whatever, they're drawing exactly like if they would draw. Like the Raphael Grandpa's drawing like he would draw. He's not drawing that much different. I mean, he's going to draw as he draws, sure. But I feel like Jurgens changed his art style a little bit differently on that. Breeding did a slightly different inking style on it. Everything was a little bit bigger, in
And
scale.
you didn't have the same. I don't. I'm talking out my butt here. You didn't have the same colors, right? Was it the Superman colorist do that with them?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
What was his name?
Oh, Glenn Whitmore was the
Glenn
main.
Whitmore, because he did every Superman comic for like 5 years.
Well, he's also touring, I think now. I think he's been at signings and stuff. He's been at conventions.
No, I've
Talk,
heard him on a
yeah.
podcast recently.
Okay.
Probably at Dollar Bin Bandits or something within the past year. So I'm like, oh yeah, I've kind of forgotten that he was just the Superman colorist. Like you think about Superman during the Triangle era, and it's just all his coloring, which is both good and bad. The guy's a solid colorist. But I remember thinking at the time, like, it'd be neat to see something a little bit more. So I think you're right. When you got to the Doomsday Superman Prestige format series, The first one, I think it was a different colorist, and it definitely gave it a little bit more
Yeah.
saturation. I don't know. The color was thicker, maybe.
Yeah, it's
I
funny.
think
I just looked it up. I was about to say that we would think that a lot of like the Midnight Suns was all like Gregory Wright, right? We had like Ghost Rider, or like Gregory Wright was like kind of a blanket on a lot of that stuff, and Gregory Wright colored that. But that's interesting. So
what
Gregory Wright colored Hunter Prey.
really
Yeah,
that
I
makes
wouldn't.
sense. That's probably why I like it more
Yeah.
because Gregory Wright was like he. When I think of like McFarlane, and good Larson, I think about Gregory Wright. But the dude also is a good writer, and the dude also was a good editor. And like his memory is like he'll show up on the Larson and Liefeld boards, take a shot, and he
Oh,
he always first off he usually backs Liefeld stories. Like
mm.
Liefeld's got a really good memory. Um, and Greg Wright will show up, and he's not getting anything out of that. He's not working for anyone. I don't even know what Gregory Wright's doing right now.
I don't know. Here it's funny you said Greg Wright because he's credited in this book as Greg Wright.
Greg Wright, okay.
Greg Wright. So maybe when he went from because he was mainly right around that time. He was what year is that? Let me see.
I would love to hire him. The one comic I'm working on, um, is a McFarlane inspired Spider-Man style
94.
story, and I would love to hire Gregory Wright to color it. Greg Wright. Like if I can afford a real colorist, not just
Hmm.
my friend Dexter Weeks, he'll always color my stuff. One day I'll pay him. He's been so cool. He's always colored like so much of my stuff,
Right.
and like he colored that Supreme story,
Right. Well, how
even
many
though
pages do you think in your darkest image too? My Christmas gift. I mean that's
right,
15 pages maybe. There's a lot of pages in there.
yeah, yeah, he didn't color the second story, the Lady Supreme story, but
Blood Wolf.
and yep, funny. Yeah, when we review that book, I will get into detail about my two stories.
Got a
I'll
Battle
post them
Cat
up.
here. Battle Cat. Anyway, uh, stay
All
on
right.
target. Stay on target.
Yeah.
But yeah. So overall, this is again Josh Williamson killing it on this. And is this the only thing he's writing?
This
Is
is
that
two Superman books in a
right?
row where I'm like, yeah, these are like this is my favorite Superman books right now.
Right. Yeah.
I'm really digging Action Comics, but like this Superman and last Superman,
Mhm.
him and Dan Moore working together really work out good.
Yeah. It's an I just again
Listen, I love
unless
World's Finest. I really did, but I'm thinking I like this better. Maybe it's
uh,
just because it's
yeah, I zoomed in on the. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I feel like the World's Finest had it's a lot of winks. It to me, I didn't like World's Finest because I felt like it winked every couple pages. It's like, see what I did there? See what I did there? I feel like it was Mark Waid just like doing that. He's not doing that on Justice League Unlimited, and he can. He could easily do it in Justice League Unlimited, and he's
no,
not.
no, he's doing a better job on Justice League Unlimited.
Yes.
Like if you got rid of World's Finest, I wouldn't be sad because I got Justice League and Dan Moore on Superman. Like
Right.
I feel like these are better books.
Yeah. The
Not
only
knocking World's
thing,
Finest, not knocking it. I
well,
really enjoyed that book.
the only thing I don't like per se is that Wade's reusing the same thing he did in World's Finest. He's basically going to have this like sleeper agent who's going to show up as a bad guy. Airwave is the same character as the guy it was in.
I don't think he was so much a sleeper agent as just he had just gotten changed. Like he
He got
wasn't a
screwed
sleeper.
over,
Yeah, yeah, he got screwed over, and
and then he just turned villain
yeah.
moderately
It's
quickly,
our more concern is
quick
they have a
enough.
similar thing going on with Obsidian and JSA, and then Airwave and Justice League. So we'll
That's
see
right. Yeah. So just have so both of these teams have characters that aren't the characters per se.
per se.
Cool.
Okay,
But I
what's up?
like anyway. So I like this too. Even this like you're gonna do this intricate of a design again. These comic artists, man, they're working the shit out of it. Because look, like who decided that? He decided that. You know what I mean? Like Dan Moore is like, I'm gonna do this. Same thing with how much work
Is
design
this
wise.
is this flipped or drawn twice? You think he drew it once and then flipped it?
Uh, it's close. No, it's drawn twice. Yep, it's drawn twice. Because I can tell from this not being the same as. Oh, I don't know. God,
I mean, don't look at the glares. If you take away the glares,
the glares might be covering it up. The glares might be tricking our eyes. Trick your eyes.
listen,
What about the circles here? Let me see if I can measure it here. 112. I don't even know what this tool does.
I think it's it. No,
No, it's
listen.
not. No, it's not because that's his 137. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But you're
You look for the
yeah,
weird things, and the weird things seem to match up.
yeah. But listen, why not? I mean, same thing with the head. Oof. Yeah, the head might be. Yikes. God, they're both. Listen, all these guys, listen, you have Hayden Sherman drawing, you know that he ain't doubling nothing. If this guy doubles something, he's doing such a good job on it. And you have Mikael Janin dropping in different elements of desk, of surge, surge protector, of cords on the wall, of light fixtures. Who gives a shit? Like these guys, first off, these guys are just like murdering it. So if you are, I ain't, look, no one right now, we're the only people on the planet right now that are zooming in this hard on it. I don't think that that anyone else is going this deep in it. That's what this is about. That's what this is
Yeah.
about. So here we go.
Look at this gorgeous cover. I don't know. McGinnis just kills it every time I see him.
Yes. However, this person, Justine Ireland, had a great issue. And then we had a Joe Kelly issue, I think, right?
No,
No, this is the second Justine Ireland,
back to back
but
Ireland
too
books.
many words and too much shit going on and not enough action and just like and even the action, like this is a whole bunch of stuff. I actually kind of love this almost JRJR, almost like this like somewhat cartoonier JRJR. I like this. This is Gleb Melnikov again.
Hmm.
Justina Ireland. Who's inking this? I think he is potentially because I think the colorist is Mayo Menz, and yeah, the colorist is this
Okay.
same colorist in the cover. But I guess we're just really kind of weirded out that this is kind of just coming along and then is done. We don't know. We don't get it. Like we're like, what are you doing? Like to us, it's a little odd that you're having a fill-in people on this. You hype up Joe Kelly coming on, then you're canceling the book, and then you're relaunching the book.
Right. Like this is the eight deaths of Spider-Man. Like you were promoting the hell out of this. You
It's
do
we
two
know it's
issues
canceled.
and then you
Yeah,
hand it off.
you hand it off, and
Weird.
it's going to kind of come back. Like, and this was a lot of filler stuff. And even this with them talking, everybody's talking. Come on, man. Everybody, someone throw a punch. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Even this, like, uh, I don't know. Even like
Yeah,
this is
I
your
don't think I mind it.
montage
I
fight.
don't think I mind it as much as you do. Um, but I get what you're saying.
I don't know. And then again, I talked about this I think in the news. I like the retired Bagley. So retired Bagley has been inking his own covers. He's inking a Thundercats cover that's coming up, which I think is some of the best work I've ever seen him do. Maybe it's because I'm so used to him not drawing. I'm so used to him drawing Marvel characters. I would like to
Yes.
see him draw other stuff. He did some DC work for a bit, and I didn't really care. I didn't care for it. It
Probably
didn't
not the probably
translate to
not the
me.
right yeah, probably not the right inker colorist books. Like there's something special at DC that he could have done, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, so here he's inking himself, and then Rich Eisenow. So you have the right people
This looks like an
doing it.
ultimate Spider-Man cover because of
Correct,
Asimov,
because I think yeah. So, but again, who's drawing next book? It doesn't say who's nothing
Yeah, we don't know
next,
who's doing next issue. Is it going to be Ireland again? We don't know. Is
and
Joe
just have
Kelly
like
going to come back
where's
and finish
McGinnis?
his?
McGinnis isn't drawing the new book. What happened? We used to have McGinnis like kind of 7, 8 issues a year. He did a lot of work.
Yeah, what is he doing? Is he
I mean,
he's not coming back right now? It's Pepe Larraz
right.
with Vermeida Jr. So
Right.
where's McGinnis going? What's big? What is big with Spider? I don't know. Well, look, when we get to TimeSlide, we'll bring it up because
Listen,
there's
I'll be fine if McGinnis wants to do some Godzilla stuff. You want to do some Marvel Godzilla one shot,
take a
please?
shot, take a shot. That's
Please.
Mark's thing. I bring up Live a little more. He brings up Godzilla.
Yeah. So that would be good. So again, I don't mind this, but like this feels very 80s. I also I hate that Spider Boy like head. That's gonna be so dated. That Spider Boy, as soon as Dan Slott leaves Marvel, dude, it's over.
No,
That character will not be used again. It's over. Uh,
it's going to be like didn't Bendis kill off Maddie Franklin, Spider Woman?
yeah,
It's just like her.
right. I love
By the
this
way,
book. I thought this book was great.
wouldn't mind her being around.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so
I
yeah,
love this book. I thought this book was great. The only thing I didn't like about it is the cover because the cover basically has Peggy Carter with blonde hair, which technically is
she did.
continuity,
Yeah,
but in the book she has red hair. You have Wolverine who's not in this book, and Bucky's not in this book either. And I know you have to sell this book. And this is Jonas Scharf, who just did the Conan book, The Secret of the Black Stone. Like he did that miniseries. So I kind of love Jonas Scharf getting work. Fine by me, no problem. Um, And this basically, I was trying to figure out like why do I know this Ghost Rider a little bit? And that Ghost Rider was in the Hulk. It was in Philip
Yeah,
Kennedy
yeah.
Johnson's Hulk, and they didn't have an origin here. So here they actually have like the origin. Pretty scary book is Adam Gorham, who I don't remember what he worked on previously, but pretty freaky. I don't know who. I don't know what who if Philip K. Johnson has some like dirt on somebody at Marvel because he's allowed to do some pretty disgusting body horror stuff.
Well,
Because
body horror is
Hulk
in
is
right now.
ridiculous. Yeah. Well, we
It's
just
in.
saw
So
that
Marvel's like
yesterday. We
Marvel.
saw a lot of
Yeah.
body horror. Yikes. But yeah, this is just like, how is this passing anything? I guess is there a comics code or
No,
anything? No,
there's
it's
not.
just
There
not
hasn't.
parental advisory.
No, listen. Marvel had to pay people to do that. So when they were going bankrupt and Casada and Gemis were trying to take Marvel out of bankruptcy, they're like, "Why are we paying these people to do a job that we can do?" And
You're
it
paying
doesn't matter.
people to censor your work
Yeah.
or create new work for people who you may not have the budget to pay again, or you might just ask them to do the correction, right?
Yep. Yep.
Because
So
you're
they
probably
got
not
rid of it.
going to pay them again. Unlike, well, actually, I can't even say it's like when the special effects people, when they just kind of said, well, you just do it. You know what I mean? We're giving you a contract amount, you know, and then the special effects people complain that they don't get work, the correct work. But yeah, this is really gross, good body horror. Oh, I don't know who's coloring this. Does it say on here? Let me see. Frank Martin. But really good coloring, good lettering. Um, just gross,
Yeah.
just gross stuff. But yeah, I like that we're basically getting a villain. We're getting an origin of this Ghost Rider. Um, and I just love the very low tech. It's kind of like Captain America's Ultimates costume, right? It's just like
Hmm.
it's
Just
just a wartime costume.
yeah, it's
That's
just your
it.
uniform. They call them uniforms.
Yeah. Well, they call them uniforms. Now, do we know who this is? Do we know who this is? This a real person? Skinny Sebastian Zardos, who's basically like a Doctor Strange. He has an eye of Agamotto, and he has like a monster gun.
I don't know, but it's awesome.
It's great. No, it is really good. And you have Peggy Carter showing up, and then I know that they preview basically that, and this is where he gets the Harley. I'm Nick Fury. Blah blah blah. We're going. Oh, you want this? Ever rode a Harley before? Great. So we don't need to know more. So next issue will be about the Wolverine, and then a bit more, and then maybe Bucky in issue 3. So
Yep.
I guess my only issue is on the cover. I think Ghost Rider. Well, maybe not. Who knows? I mean, is this who's buying this book? It's not called Ghost Rider. It's not called Hellverine. It's not called Wolverine. It's not called Bucky. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really know if you can sell this book without potentially putting all them on the cover. And I don't know what this book could sell. I think it's 5 issues. I think that's
Oh,
look.
it's
It's a
just a
Hulk.
thing.
It's a Hulk miniseries. Like it's a Hulk spinoff miniseries, and also kind of interesting that you can have Ghost Rider, you can have Cosmic Ghost Rider, like Ghost Rider's kind of become a thing right now in this month, right? There is
Hmm.
a Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance book. There's Hellverine. There's this book. There's at least 3 Ghost Rider books this month.
And yet,
There's always
as far
kind of
as we
two.
know, there's no Ghost Rider media going on.
No, is Ghost Rider? I guess Ghost Rider nostalgia is that's enough.
You know,
That's enough
it's
as
weird.
to
Ghost Rider
hold.
created in the 70s based off of the name. They had a Ghost Rider, but Marvel wanted to use the name, so they created the new Ghost Rider character.
Which is a very DC move. DC had mainly that with like Flash because they're like, hey, we got these names,
Right. Flash, Green
and
Lantern,
Julie
Atom.
Schwartz is like, can we just do stuff with this, please, so we can kind of renew the copyright,
I
kind
think I
of.
said to you, I'm like, well, it's a shame they stopped there. Like they should have kept going. Hey, let's redo Our Man in the 60s. Let's do, you had all these Golden Age characters. Like
Yeah, and they
this,
struggle to kind of put them continual. It was by accident that they were lineage characters. It was complete accident,
yeah,
for sales. But no, you're right. So, but this was kind of like Ghost Rider 1, Johnny Blaze is an evil Knievel knockoff,
right.
basically, and horror.
Hmm.
Okay. Um,
Then they pass it along to Danny Ketch.
which was the
And
perfect storm for us. The perfect storm being 13, came out in
yes,
90. Perfect.
right.
Great, great art.
So when you do
Misunderstood here.
that,
Horror.
that's when you open up the idea of like, there's been other Ghost Riders now. Like that's, you have medieval Spawn. Well, there's probably a medieval Ghost Rider.
Mm.
Did they make a Ghost Rider all of a sudden he's got like the skull? I don't know. I don't know if they ever did that. They did a Western Ghost Rider, right? I know they did
Yeah,
it in a movie with Sam Elliott.
yeah. No, they go back to that. They
They
pull that
retro.
in. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when that gets pulled in. I don't think it gets pulled in during. Um, but you have Johnny, like you have Johnny showing up in issue like 10 maybe, because like by issue 20 something they're like, okay, we're doing a Spirits of Vengeance book, we're doing a spin-off that Adam Cooper's drawing.
Oh,
Like that's kind of nuts. Like and that's a very underrated series. That's a series I've never really gotten rid of.
I
That
didn't.
which is kind of
I
funny.
bought all the first issues because again, I'm like 14, 15, and barely
Darkhold, you
working.
got Darkhold #1.
Yeah, I think I bought Darkhold number 8 because like Sabretooth was in it. I was, me being a big Sabretooth fan.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through that. I know that
It wasn't good.
Tony Harris at the next one. Yeah, it was one of the Marvel UK guys actually. One of the guys I know that is not that great. Louis Shiner, I believe. Let me see if I'm right. I'll put it down there if I'm right. I'm probably right. Um,
Look at that. Who knows?
look
Um, who
look
was
at
the
that.
first to do real legacy characters? Like, because like, Ghost Rider, like Jason Aaron went and invented like Mastodon writing Ghost Rider, and then Donny Cates did Ghost Rider in the future, and it's like Punisher, it's like Frank Castle, Cosmic Ghost Rider. But who was the first to go like we talk about the DC legacy, how they created new Flash, new Green Lantern, you know?
Well, would you say Cap is technically a legacy character? Because Cap,
Well, no, I mean like there's a Spawn, medieval Spawn,
oh, I see.
and then
Right.
McFarlane ran with that. Like was there anyone else who did like now Ghost Rider has been around for thousands of years, or is there other characters like that? Oh, it's funny. It's not funny. Spawn and Ghost Rider, both demons, both like possessed by demons or whatever, or
They got
hell. They're
chains.
the hell created. Yeah, they both got chains. McFarlane loves the chains and the skulls.
Right. Yeah, without Ghost Rider, there would be no Spawn. Then he wanted to draw Ghost Rider really bad, right? Was that or no? I guess that might have been Jim Lee. Jim Lee wanted Ghost Rider and X
Yeah,
Men.
Jim Lee wanted. Yeah, because he saw how much fun McFarlane was having. He's like, oh, look how cool McFarlane's Ghost Rider is, and
Yeah,
it
I'll
was
draw
cool,
it. Yes.
dude. I drew McFarlane style Ghost Rider a lot when I was a kid. I fucking love drawing the skulls and the chain. I like drawing chains and webbing, like all the stuff anchors hate. Like I love drawing.
Yeah, I like drawing chains. Chains was really fun, because I would just do a link and then the wrap
Yes.
around the link, the wrap around, and I never did like the good turn. I never did like the force perspective or anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would just drew like
No,
kind of like
no
basic
chains, no
chains.
chains coming at you. Just chains. Two D,
Yeah,
straight up 2D,
very
2D
2D.
chains.
Give me some 2D chains. That's a wrap up.
I
No,
was
I
just gonna
don't
say
know.
that's a new. I was gonna say it's a new metal band. Too bad.
I was thinking 2 chains. Yeah, but like I don't know. I mean, it could be Ghost Rider. I mean, like that. Well, that was because again, that Ghost Rider, the literal old Ghost Rider, like that's was Gil Kane drawing that, right? Like or something, or Gil Kane at least at the cover. I want to say. So I don't know.
All right.
We might have to circle back. We might
Yeah.
have to circle back to that. Make a special episode. Um, I like this issue a ton, actually. This actually kind of I didn't like 1 and 2 because 1 and 2 were the same story
Right. That was
basically
it
on
was an
how they came together.
issue and a third. Like it could have been one
Yeah, it didn't.
oversized issue.
It was a mess. This was a little bit better because, as much as in our brain, the X-Men ideology is correct, there is a division in X-Men ideology here, clearly
Right.
with the two teams.
Just like America.
This is America. This book is America. But I just don't understand. And again, I will give McKay credit because McKay is doing the Liefeld. Like, look, here we go. Ready? Boom. Action, 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 action. The only thing that I thought would be different, what I would have done a little bit different, is I may have flipped the sequence. So this is I forget Vicentini. I may have flipped him to the back because the dramatic stuff I think this guy could have handled. Versus you have Stegman who could have. This would have been a little different with
Yes. Yeah.
Stegman. Yeah, I think this would have been a little bit more kinetic with Stegman. I don't mind this. I think this is still really good as your B art. But actually, this action is pretty great. I don't know, but I would have liked to
It's
see.
very kinetic. It's very yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, look. This is what I want. I want this. This is what I want. I want to see this action. I like these um ravage looking sentinel
Yeah.
sentinel
Sentinel dogs.
dogs. Yeah.
Can I pet that
God,
dog?
Got that dog. Listen to how good that gambit is too. Sheesh.
Yeah, good
Um,
game. Good blob. I love a good juggernaut blob fight
yeah, it
when
was pretty funny to
immovable
go
object
down.
meets.
Yeah, unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do a whole issue on that thing. But I do like this. I thought that was pretty fun. Like I need a lecture from one of Wolverine's special girl sidekicks.
That was a funny
So
line.
very funny. But she's under. Well, no, I guess yeah, she would be under because Jubilee's under Rogue. Is that right in this? Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's that's the Stegman. Like basically even so by the design, you know the segment design. So it's interesting to see because Marquez designs are not too much different than Jim Lee designs.
My
This is Jim
favorite
Lee's
blob,
design.
my favorite blob comic is that first Dale Keown Hulk, second Dale Keown Hulk. He
Okay.
fights Freedom Force, Gray Hulk.
Mm.
And Blob's like, you can't move me. Like Hulk punches him and he just like wobbles, like, ah ha ha. Then Hulk just grabs his stomach and starts stepping backwards. He's like, that's not
Right.
how my power works. And Hulk's
Right.
like, oh
Right. Right.
well,
I'll have to
which
drop
is
it in. I
funny.
love that. That's a really fun. That's a really fun issue.
It is.
But I wonder if this like again, I wonder if this
Is that Bob McLeod or Mark Farmer?
flipped.
Think that one. I feel like
Bob
it's Bob McLeod. I
McLeod.
think it's Bob McLeod.
Yeah, Mark Farmer did the back end. Did the butt. Did the back end.
Right. So yeah, back to Stegman.
Yeah, Stegman, JP Mayer, again, good, still kinetic. I just beautiful people in tight clothes fighting each other. I don't know. I think I think McKay is pretty fun writing here, but I do like this. I'm not sacrificing the freedom of every mutant on this planet. And
Good
then what does
argument.
he say? Yeah, and then this like this, I love this. I love this. Because I don't want listen, I don't want Charles. I don't want him out. I agree. Cyclops was right. Let me get those shirts back. Cyclops was right.
You know,
Just leave him in there.
it's a tough
Because
call.
again, I feel like there's a lot of Charles Xavier sins over the years that we've seen whether he's purposely messing with Jean's powers, you know what I
Right.
mean, to like suppress. Was he helping her? Is that dangerous? Is that overstepping? Yes.
Is he creeping
Um,
on her?
there's stuff in Krakoa that I fell out, but they mention it here. The stuff he did in Krakoa, which is horrible. So I don't know, you know. So I don't know, but there he is. He's all right. And you can almost see like why are Psylocke and like clearly he's
But
messing with them
under,
right there.
yeah, like this is not. Well, yeah. What's going on? Why
Oh,
is he like this? Why is he?
and they
Yikes!
mention I don't have the end page, but they have like the next cover, which is Cyclops Scoop, Cyclops cover segment, but it says that like the ramifications of next issue. So I feel like that whatever's going to happen next issue, there is, which will be kind of fun, the epilogue issues of like whatever happens. So I feel like there's definite stakes in this so far. I haven't liked really anything. I haven't stayed with anything on any of the other ones. X Factor, I didn't like the concept of it. I'm out, which is a bummer because I
I
like
stick with that because I like the writing. I know it's going to get.
it's
It's
Mark
weird.
Russell, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and Mark Russell's got a very
And
particular
Bob
way
Quinn.
of doing comics.
Yeah, it might be a slow burn on it. I don't know. But I don't like any of the open minis or the Mystique came out this week too, but I didn't think it was particularly that it felt a little fillery,
It
so
wasn't as
I didn't put
standout
that
as
in.
the first two are
Nah.
fantastic.
There was no good. Yeah, I didn't pick it. I just because I've read through it and I'm just like, okay, it's wrapping up already. It's issue 3. So, but yeah, again, I do like this quite a bit. Pretty happy with this. We'll jump back to Marvel in a little bit. We had a late edition that I
Yeah,
forgot to pop in here. We'll jump over to Image.
we'll slide
This
into that one later.
will time slide into it.
You see.
This I thought was kind of a cool cover because Andy Kubert is leaning a little bit backwards. I feel like he's leaning more towards Joe, and I even zoomed in on here because this is what Joe would do a lot of the time. He'd have lines
Oh,
and he wouldn't erase
for
anything.
sure.
Look at that. He didn't erase that line there. Let me point it out. Look at this. What are you doing? You didn't erase that. You just inked over it, and that's okay. And
It's
you're
even funnier. He
allowed.
just inked over it instead of just like I just wanted to ink that part.
Nah,
Don't.
let's ink over it. Who cares?
Yeah, this is some classic Kubert. It's good to see Andy Kubert do this. I'm glad they got him
Yeah,
because I kind of miss Andy Kubert. Like Adam Kubert kind of took over. Adam Kubert took over very early. Like Andy
right.
Kubert got more famous because he was on X-Men when Adam Kubert was on Wolverine.
Right.
But all of a sudden, Adam Kubert's Wolverine just kept getting better and
Mhm.
better. And Andy
Right.
Kubert
I
all
didn't
of a sudden
leave.
Well, he started looking like his brother. He all of a sudden started mimicking stuff Adam was doing. By the
Right.
time like Post came in pre-onslaught, remember Post, big blue dude,
I got it. It's over
like
there.
all of a sudden like he was doing some Adam Kubert stuff,
Post.
and then Adam Kubert just he just keeps working. He's just like a workhorse. So I'm glad to see Andy Kubert. Did Andy Kubert ever go back to Marvel after he left?
No, because he left for DC to work with Tom King on that Superman book, Superman Up in the
Well,
Sky.
no, I'm talking even before that when he went over there to work
Oh, Neil Gaiman. Yeah,
with
he
Neil
worked
Gaiman on
with
Batman.
right, right,
Like he never went
and
back.
then Morrison. No, I don't believe so. No.
You and I were at that Wizard World Philly when they made that announcement. That was like the big announcement to show the Kubert brothers going to DC.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And that's weird. Adam went back pretty quickly,
Mhm.
and Andy's just stayed there. Holy
I think
crap!
the sensibilities are still well. There is a Kickstarter. I want to say. I should say how much it is.
So Andy's last work for Marvel was what? Wolverine Origins, then 1602.
Hmm.
Those are probably his last Marvel works because he was really into his pencils not getting inked.
Which is no good. Now he's thinking himself, and it looks so much better. Thank you.
Yes. And this
Um,
cover looks great. This looks like classic, you know, Spears of Vengeance almost, like he's
right,
reverting a little bit, and I like
right,
it.
right, right. Yeah, to me, it's I like that the covers are on this. Is it just reminds me of the old GI Joes, which
Yeah,
you'd have a
that
Mike Zeck cover.
creature bottom right corner looks like a Frank Miller drawing.
Yeah, that's like a new Miller. Yeah,
Yeah, like a new Miller drawing. That's neat looking.
yeah,
This is neat.
it's inked a little different, you know.
Yeah.
Blah.
Yeah.
Here's Mooneyham, and
So
Mooneyham
good,
is
dude.
kind of all over the place with like influence. I think
I
it's
don't
a lot of Claus Janson. I love it. I think it's great,
I
And
enjoy this
again,
book. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on half the time
I have
because
no idea what's going on.
I didn't read the prior 200 issues, 300 issues.
Yeah, basically zombies attack this town. That's it.
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
like they didn't they're not blowing up the town. It's just a bunch of zombies.
Look how
Uh
cool Serpentor looks, dude. And dude, his signature looks like an Andy Kubert page. Like
yeah. I always like that. I always like when people would sign their page. Like Eduardo Rizzo would always be like, I'm very proud of this page.
yes,
Let me
yeah.
just draw that in. So I'm not sure where Mooneyham is from. I don't know if he's foreign, because that's not an American thing. They don't just sign pages, man. McFarlane's not
Very
just signing a page
rarely.
for no reason. But I'm very proud of this page, so let me do this. And this I wonder, with the lettering, is like if that Cthulhu is
God, I want
drawn
that.
in. I don't think it is. I think
That's
someone's
that
drawing
Serpentor
that
should
in.
be like a tattoo on people.
Yeah, and you're still doing this light. This isn't as I think Pelletier had a heavier coloring on it. I feel like that there's a lot more lines here, so the colorist is doing that a little bit less. But I do like. I still don't like Snake Eyes talking. All right,
Yeah, no, too much talking.
you have other people next to him. They can talk. That's fine. But I do
Is that
like
a
the
thing?
dreadnoughts.
I'm not so familiar with Larry Hama. Like, did Snake Eyes talk on a semi-regular basis?
No, this Snake Eyes, I believe, is this is a like a reincarnated body or something.
Okay,
This is a clone body or something. I want to say it's Snake Eyes' brain.
let's fix that Larynx or whatever his problem is.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it.
I always
I
thought it was like a vow of silence. I forget. I'm not. Listen, I can tell you everything about every Transformer ever, but my GI Joe knowledge is like pretty
yeah,
limited.
I don't need it. You know what's funny is I started watching Thundercats last night again. I want to try and maybe watch like an episode a day. They're 21 minutes. I was going to try and see. Well, I tried two things last night. I tried your YOR, which is like a Conan He-Man. I mean, it's 1978. It was like an Argentinian comic strip, but it's like a Conan knockoff. And an Antarctic Press put out some reprints recently of it. And it's like based on this movie. But then I read somewhere that the movie was based on the art from Argentina. So I don't know what the heck it's from. Anyway,
Right.
the whole thing's on Tubi, but I watched the Riff Tracks version of it. So I got through some of it, but I was a little tired. So I just flipped on Thundercats. Thundercats, the first 10 minutes, they're just naked. They
That's
literally make
right.
a point to just state that they're like, we need to go, if we go on that planet, not Thundera, we're allowed to be naked. But if we go on this planet, we got to put some stuff on. So let's go get some stuff to wear. But like,
Well, your
they're just
cats,
naked.
your cats are naked, Mark. You
I
got
know,
cats and dogs running around your house.
I understand, but like,
It's a nude ass
listen,
furry party going on over there.
it's a little tough. Chitara's, that's it. It's like an early crush. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Oh
oh
no, I
my,
get it.
I feel like I'm look. Should I look away? Like I don't know what's going on. I
They're
should
like
be able to watch that.
meow.
almost 50. You know what I mean?
Ever?
I'm like, I'm a little embarrassed. I'm like, can you put it on? Because again, it's like you're watching something you shouldn't be watching. You're like, did they mess up the coloring? And you're like, no. Then they just talk about it. And I'm like, okay, how did they get this past the censors? I don't know. But you're right. Yeah, I think my G.I. Joe knowledge is less so. But I don't know. Like I mean, look, I had Zartan when I was a kid. Super fun, and I
Yeah.
just like the dreadnoughts are
Yeah.
alongside of them.
My
So
my first GI Joe was Shipwreck, which is like hilarious.
that might have been my first. No, my first was Roadblock. Yep,
Okay.
Green Roadblock, Green Road. Because I want to say that was the Green Roadblock was different. They had a different. I want to say it had a different chest plate. Does that sound right? I feel like it's an early variant or something. Anyway,
All right.
Roadblock. So I wanted to read this last time, but I didn't have the energy for it. Also, and
For
I'll
this issue
explain
or
this in
the
here.
series?
I got to go back and read the thing. I think I read the first like 4 or 5. My
All right.
problem is my brain. I was telling Milligan this yesterday. I don't know if I can register more characters in my brain. I feel like my brain is full. I can't add characters in. It's really hard, right? I can add in variations, no problem. You give me an Ultimates book, and that's like okay. There's Ultimate Hawkeye. Okay, I can slot it in my Hawkeye. I got
I
so many slots, right?
agree with you. I came to this realization when
Twin Sons, no problem. I got Twin Sons. They're right there.
Stephen King's Dark Tower comic came out. I'm like, I don't want to learn this whole world. I think I just learned like all the Game of Thrones world and Lord of Rings world. Like I had too much fantasy in my head that I wanted to keep straight. And
Mm,
reading Dark Tower, I'm like, if you give me a Dark Tower TV show, which we're probably getting next year,
mm.
I'll probably dig into it that way. Like in a visual medium, I could do it, but with comics, one more world. I understand what you're saying.
Tough, man.
I enjoy this comic a lot. I understand what's going on. Could I tell you the name of? Yeah, I can tell you the name of the world and some of the characters, but like, I can't tell you most of the characters' names. I
Right,
can't tell you the lead two characters' names right now. If I see them, I can be like, okay, that's the dude's name, that's the girl's name. In my
right.
head, it's like the dude, the girl, and his dad.
Right.
Those
That's
are
it.
the those are the main
And look,
characters.
and let's be clear. It's we're not. Let's be clear. We're not making fun of uh the storytelling in any way. We're not making fun of the story. We're not making fun of the writer. We're not making fun of Kirkman. We're not making fun of the artist. Like we're not. No, it's just about our old man brains. We
Yes.
can only store so much. I really feel that's the case. That's why like a lot of times when like there's new Star Wars stuff, I'm just like I'm full. I'm all full.
No,
I'm
but
good.
if they told you Star Wars tales with the old characters, you're totally in.
I'm in. What time does it come on?
And it's not
What
that,
time does it
and
start
we
stream?
there was a point where we would embrace new characters, and we still do. We embrace the Image universe, and here's 100 new characters. Awesome. We'll learn everything about it. But if you gave me a new Image universe today, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, to me, like I feel like every image spinoff was close to what they left, right? So McFarlane leaves. I know he's respawned in 78. What was it? Whatever that old fat spawn drawing is, right? I get it. That's his childhood thing. Just as Youngblood literally is in 80s, is literally in print. Costumes are kind of the same. But he's going to a group of characters. All right, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going from X Force to Youngblood. Okay, Wildcats. You're going from X Men to Wildcats. Okay, you have a bunch of you got
Yeah.
big guy.
Yeah.
You got
You're
a
going
you
you're
got a
going
claw guy.
Spider-Man. You got Spider-Man and Dragon. Great. I get it.
Yeah,
Even though the Dragon
it's
looks a little hulkish, his attitude and villains are very Spider-Man-ish.
yeah. You're
There
gonna
was it
have a,
was
a rogues gallery.
it was some
Correct.
lateral moves.
Yeah.
Jim Valentino
So
originally had a lateral move. It was going to be Guardians, then he was going to do this book called The Others. And then it was going
oh
to
yeah.
be he was just focused on one character called Clone, and then he just totally changed his mind and did Shadowhawk, which is a revamped version of Archie's the Fox. Because he was going to go
Oh
do that with Tex. I think he was going to write it. Tex was going to
oh
draw it.
wow.
Neat, huh?
That's fun. Yeah.
Fox.
And but see, I feel that with that we were refreshed a little bit. So I wonder if we would have been more open for them to do something non-lateral. They did lateral. We had no influence on that. We just were going to buy it. But we all bought Shadowhawk. We all were like, "What's this?" You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
we all
yeah,
liked it. We all were pretty happy with it. And we're like, "Oh, he can do something else." Like, because for the most part, you and I read What Ifs, and we
yeah.
read Guardians. So I only knew him as an outer space person. I only knew him basically as
What's
that.
funny? I'd actually read Valentino at that point, his independent black and white comic. I was
Oh
aware
yeah,
of
I came to
Normal
that
Man.
so later. I came to that so concepted later. I was like, what is that? What is that?
I had a friend who was just so into independent stuff, and it really helped me like get into that stuff beforehand. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
a big independent guy. That's probably why I embraced Image so much. So I was
Hmm.
already about independence.
Yeah, so this was hard. I did kind of skim this. I barely read this really. Like it was just a situation where, but see, like even from page one, I'm like, okay, here we go. All right, I know these people, right?
These are third series post movie Transformers. You got your Hot Rod, you got your Quintessons, you got eventually you got Skeelix, the pig face dude with the rock ship.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
The Zertonians, that's these guys' names, which may or may not be. Well, you read the comic. I'm not going to spoil story stuff,
Right, right, right. Well,
and
that's
that's a
what I
big
mean.
deal.
Is this like this is what I was a little confused. I was like, do I know who this is supposed to be? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of stuff that I just think I'm lost on.
Yeah,
Where there's
this
a
is a
big reveal,
variation.
and I'm
The
like, I
variation
guess.
is it's a take. It's like a different Vector Sigma. You know who Vector Sigma is? He
Hmm.
gave life to the aerial bots. You
Right,
know,
right, right.
so this is Vector
Vector
Theta.
Sigma. Oh, wow.
There you go.
So yeah, I think that did you come up with the concept? You wanted them to be headmasters,
Yeah, yeah. My original idea when they first introduced them,
right? So
I'm like, oh,
my brain did that because with headmasters, for anyone who read the comics
read
and
the
watched the
cartoon or
TV
watch the
show,
cartoon. Yeah,
they're
they
not the
were.
same universe at all. Like it's not the same. It's not close. Like it's not, like the headmasters in cartoon form is different than the aliens that we were reading in the comics.
Well, they were different looking. In the cartoon, they made them green, kind of
Right.
a little Native American look. In the comics, they were just white people aliens.
Wait.
In Japan, the better idea was they were tiny robots that built themselves bigger bodies to control. I like that idea a lot better than a random guy who would squish his body in half to be in a head all day,
You guys.
or a random guy who would like, I'm in a gun, keep shooting high energy
Right.
plasma blast while I'm
Right.
just sitting here
I'm
in your.
Target
I'd never,
Master.
never like that.
Well, that
Um,
I remember
Fun
feeling
toys,
that.
super fun toys.
Yeah, but I remember feeling when the was the Target Masters. The Target Masters came out. I was like, I already have Cup. I already have Blur. What are you doing to
Yeah,
me? You know what I mean? But I
you gotta.
want that gun,
I want that gun. I
and
want
I
that
never
gun.
did. I never double bought. I never bought a double.
Not a toy, no,
We
no.
didn't. We didn't believe in that. We didn't
So
believe in
yeah,
that.
when these first came out, and they're not going to be I think they were called the Nebulons. They're from the planet
Yes,
Nebula.
that's right.
So I kind of thought, oh, maybe this will be their replacement because not only because in Japan, like we stopped here, but in Japan they kept going further with the Power Masters, and they just kept going with the Masters.
Mm.
So I like the idea. Tiny robots worked out better than people. That's all, and we'll end
Yeah,
that there. But thumbs up to this comic. Kirkman knows what he's doing. It's
yeah.
peripheral to the Transformers comic. It's so different from the Transformers comic. Like Daniel Warren Johnson just really focused on the G1 first two waves of Transformers. This is all wave three, series three Transformers so far,
Right. And I
except
imagine
for
that
Jet,
they're
except
going
for
to
Jetfire.
do after a while. I imagine they're all going to just start to.
It'll coalesce.
They're going
Yeah,
to have something in a year or two. I don't know. Maybe they're going to listen. They're doing a slow burn on it and whatever. Apparently, they sell great for stores. Great. You know what I mean? That's all we want.
that's all we
We
want because
we
that
want
means we keep
stores to
getting
make.
them.
Yeah, and they're
Stores
doing
make
a good job
money.
on the reprints too. So I can't really, they're
Such a good
doing.
job.
Um, so we'll flip to media. We got to flip back to a comic later, but
Mark,
again, came
all
in
right,
too late.
let's
What we got?
let's cut
We
it here
pausing?
because I gotta go. Yeah, pause
Oh
it.
my.
I gotta go take my daughter to get a
Okay.
dress for a play practice. She's
Play
in a couple
practice.
plays. I know, and she's like, I need a dress by tomorrow morning. I'm like, all right, well
All right, let me
let's
pause
go
it.
get a dress.
I'm gonna pause real fast.
Yeah.
Oh, there's been no pause. No pause in the show. There was a pause in the show, but now we're doing it. We're doing it back live. We had to rearrange a couple things, rearrange the day a little bit. Lots of children's everywhere. But we did want to cover this, and this I even want to talk about. I feel the difference. We know I talked a lot about the Justice League Unlimited earlier on
Right.
how I feel like panel for page, pixel for pixel, whatever, you're getting so much value out of this. This is a little less. I didn't love the story. I didn't really love the art. I do like the cover. It's not by the interior guy, but
This cover's good. I like it. I like the colors. It's really wacky. Interior guy is fine. Where do you want to start? Who,
Ivan
who drew the
Fiorelli.
cover?
I'll put it in there. I forget. Yeah,
Okay, it's good.
but
It kind of reminds me of. It's funny because both artists remind me at times of Mark Brooks. This has a slight Mark Brooks feel to it, especially the Gable. I like the bigness. I like the gun, the arm. Everything looks cool. The boots. This looks good. The time colors look weird.
Yeah, I think the effect is good. I think the logo is actually pretty good. I
Yeah.
just we mentioned it earlier about what this is, and I was like, is this the same thing as time something? What did we already do this? And that was timeless. I think that was Lansing and Kelly, and that had like Luke Cage going to the future and stuff. And I think that was a Kang story, but because of
Yeah.
the Jonathan Majors stuff, they just kind of like, yeah, I guess we're not doing this anymore. It's kind of popping up here and there. They were doing these specials, and then it
Yeah.
just went away.
Now time slide for what? For those who may not know, that was a thing. Original Cable said. I mean, this is original Cable, but back in the '90s during X Force, he would body slide, which is what he called teleporting, where you slide your body in a time slide. It was what he went back and forth in the future. And I
Mhm.
think the first time he said time slide was X Force number 8, the infamous Magnola issue, which we love to talk about. X Force number 8.
The creation of Hellboy
Yeah,
somehow
roundabout.
a little bit.
Yes.
Well, I want to do
Um.
a whole episode on that thing.
So, oh, so funny. I guess we'll get to it later. So yeah, first time he said time slide, X Force number 8.
Mhm.
Good cover. Let's continue.
Yeah. Um, so this doesn't. What did you say this felt like?
This has another like it feels like a post like the type of artist. I don't know the artist name, but there was an artist who took over Deadpool Cable
Bong
like after Mark
Dazo,
Brooks.
maybe something like that.
Not Bong Dazo. He did Deadpool Core,
Okay.
right? Deadpool Core.
I think you did some Cable. You're saying it was Cable Deadpool, Deadpool
Yeah, the
Cable.
Cable Deadpool series. It's like a Mark Brooks light because that started off Mark Brooks, right? Mark Brooks drew the first 4 issues of Cable Deadpool, which by the way had lifelike covers, and then Mark Brooks left interiors but started doing covers for the book. But anyway, they had artists later on um, who had a similar style to this. I don't think it's the same artist. This is
Nah,
okay. It's okay art. I don't. It's weird to see this character from Generation X. Um, so anyway, they got to go through time and fix things. There's a new mutant coming out of the Children of the Vault storyline, and
mhm.
he's going back to X-Men major periods in time to like suck up the time energy or the mutantness of that moment. Whatever, a little convoluted. So they try to show things like this is a very alternate universe. Obviously, you got my favorite is Age of Apocalypse, Sabretooth.
Mhm.
Um, I
You have
guess
an
these are some of the
Ironheart.
things.
Well,
Was
you have something that's right now. You have
Yeah,
because we have the Doctor Strange Doom.
that's going on right now.
That I think is a clip from that's a McGinnis clip. That's like it seems like he's drawing everything, but that feels like that's a McGinnis lift
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Weird.
Um,
That's the Luke Cage. That's the Luke Cage timeless Luke Cage.
oh, okay. Is that where he's from? All right.
Mhm.
I was wondering where that Luke Cage is from.
I think I
So, all
read
right.
one of the one shots that and it was okay, but I didn't really know. It wasn't really clear. And this is the same thing. At the end of this is the same. If you have a time book and it's a one shot, we don't really know where it's going. I think I put in the last page where it's like, here's 10 books that are kind of related, maybe. And I'm like, what? Like it's because they put 8 deaths, they put a bunch of stuff in.
Well, you had that page too, right?
Yeah, I did put
Okay.
that page correct.
Things falling apart. I don't know. Bunch of weird, wacky things. Hulk's got his little, I guess, Planet Hulk headband.
Right,
She-Hulk,
right.
little. I don't know what that is. Okay, yeah, see, this is the artist that looks very much like later Deadpool Cable comic,
I just
the
don't.
Fabian Nicieza run.
Yeah, I hate the bionic arm. I hate the lack of bionic arm. It's so
It's very plain.
lazy.
It's Colossus's arm.
It's Colossus's arm.
There's no
Correct.
extra tech to it.
Yeah,
And this,
and the cover has extra tech on it.
yeah,
Come on,
which
man.
looks cool.
Yeah,
You draw him with extra tech. The woman to his left, who also has a bionic arm, she's new. She's going to be introduced in the new Cable Blood and Chrome series or whatever it's called.
right, right,
It's like the love of Cable's life. I'm like, all right, I guess it's one of them.
right,
New
right.
character, which means she probably dies, or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. It's weird to me. Bishop have. I guess they can have different hair. But yeah, look at
You know,
that Wolverine on the bottom. That Wolverine on the bottom looks like a swipe. Looks like a Greg
it,
Land or something. It looks like something.
I feel like it's a Frank Cho toy swipe. I think Frank
Okay.
Cho did a design like that for like the toy line. And I never loved Cable with the completely shaved side of his head, like
Nah.
shaved bald. I like it just like a shave on a one, you know?
That's
Just
very
saying.
Jersey. Hey, can I get a one here and then pop in a
Can it
two and then
can it
blend it? Get
fade?
a
Yeah.
blend it. They get a
It's such
fade
a
up.
listen, dude, we're children of the 90s. That's what we want.
I'll two lines here. You can maybe take a bit of my
Get a
eyebrow
straight.
off here.
Yeah,
No
right.
big deal.
Haha.
Yeah, I just don't like. I don't know, and I almost feel like didn't Kate didn't when I first saw this, I thought it was Bishop. Didn't Bishop have like a sister, Shard? Is that
Yeah,
right?
Shard. I think she's brought up in this issue.
Okay, so to me, it's like okay, you're gonna make a character kind of has the same type of like Merc type of situation, and I'm like, all right, well, where's Shard? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, do I need another character? Can Cable have a hook up with Shard? Probably. Do I need a new character? Basically, no. Um, yeah, that's
So
okay. So
so here's
this
the
is what
weird
we
list.
see. Right, right, right,
The eight deaths, that's the Spider-Man story going on right now.
right now.
One World Under Doom, that's what story we're leading to for the summer crossover.
Mhm.
Rise of the New Champions. Okay, I guess we're just new champions. All right. The Eternal
Yep.
Storm. I don't know what this is.
Do we think any of this stuff is real? Do we
Well,
think?
who waits within the last egg? That's a real thing.
I don't know
That's
what that
like
is.
there's like another golden egg mute thing found. Like, oh, who's the mutant inside of it?
Okay.
So some of these are real.
Strange of Asgard is going to be in One Nation Under Doom. So a lot of these might be. Yeah, Miss Marvel is that's solicited. I want to say the Miss Marvel second Genesis.
The Time of Strife. I'm interested in that because I love Strife.
We love
Wait a minute.
Strife.
Strife spelled with a Y though, right?
Yep.
Uh-oh, different Strife. Who is the
Time.
man with a hammer? That sounds like a Thor thing. The Ghost Fist walks. I literally just read a blurb today about Iron Fist coming back. So maybe he doesn't have the Iron Fist. He's got the Ghost Fist.
Or maybe it's Ghost Riders. Ghost Riders everywhere. That month they only have one Ghost Rider book. So they're like, all right, we're gonna do a Ghost Rider.
Maybe he's got a Ghost Rider punch.
I'm fine
The,
with it.
yeah, just I mean, the Will of
Where
Doom
is
sounds like
Spider Man? Which Spider Man?
that's
I don't
true.
like that there's two Spider Man. I've said this before. I don't like that there's Miles Morales Spider Man. How you gonna do, or the Spider Men? They're just like, hey, Spider Men.
Yeah,
What became of Emily Light? I don't know this.
I don't
The
know.
Will of Doom. Utgard rises.
Yeah, who would trade away immortality? I don't know. XVX. That sounds very possible.
But where the Spider Woman, they had like an art something for that. I think that's coming out of One Nation Under Doom.
So all these things could actually be something. Ultimate Incursion. That sounds like something that would totally happen, especially under Hickman because he created the whole incursion thing.
He loves it. He loves the word incursion. It's his favorite.
The last one though is it Gene Bomb. Wasn't that an in joke in Liefeld's issue? Take a shot of Uncanny X-Men 245. It's like we have the Gene Bomb, and they had like a body of Jean Grey, but they just spelled it differently. Remember that weird
Oh, right, 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 right. What issue was that? I gotta make sure I get that.
245?
245. Okay.
It's funny.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, all these things could be things. But it reminds us of the DC whiteboards where they would have like who is the new Superman or what's in Batman's utility
Right.
belt or it was always something like weird and
But
I don't know how many of them came true or not.
yeah, we should do an episode where we just go through the whiteboards that and see.
Yep.
Because what's the one thing? And Bendis had something in his run. There's something in one of the closets, right? Is there something in a closet? I don't know. iFanboy always talks about that, and they ask Bendis about it. And he's like, "Shut up, guys, shut up!" Like he like says it that it's some plot point he had in New Avengers. I want to say, or something
Yeah,
was in the closet and it's still in there. I guess it never came out of the closet. So, I don't know, man.
I dig on Tempest. Like it was cool. Like she Bendis's best book was like an annual with her in it, right?
Yeah.
Best singular issue of his.
So
Um,
is that Mojo 2 up there, or that's just like a different Mojo looking
I
guy?
don't know.
Maybe
Maybe
that's
it's
not
Mojo
Mojo.
3.
Mojo
But
3, baby.
It's Mojo Quattro. We're gonna
It's
skip over 3, go right to 4.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have the new Ultimate Wolverine with the face mask and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
all right.
Laura Wolverine. I don't know why.
I thought that's
Jean
done. I
Grey.
thought that they're trying to just like kind of. I thought that Elektra Daredevil's done, or I thought that kind of ended with Star Wars. Or is she just out there?
I don't
I feel
know.
like Electra. They just do Electra all the time.
Maybe
It's like
maybe
Electra's
there's
out there
two
doing something.
maybe there's two Daredevils, Mark.
Ugh.
And what is this thing? Is it like part Sentinel, part I don't know what this last
It
thing is
might
to
be
the
part
right.
of that Sentinels book because I know there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. And here's more stuff. There's Madcap. Is that right?
Oh
Madcap.
yeah, no, Capwolf. You got Capwolf.
Yeah.
Hawk
Who's
currently.
who's this? Isn't that Madcap? That's
Oh,
Madcap.
Madcap. I thought you were talking about top Capwolf. Yeah, that's Madcap. The Thinker. Oh, the Thinker's coming back.
Well,
Apocalypse the
that's
Second. That's what's
yeah,
the name grown up? Who's in the story? Ultimate Wolverine. Why have Ultimate Wolverine? No,
yeah,
like
and
original
right.
Ultimate Wolverine.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's weird because yeah, they're literally taking actual like covers and stuff, like they're taking the Mr. Hyde freak out, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's the timeless Doctor, I'm sorry, Luke Cage.
yeah. They'll. I
Is that
guess. I guess it's
Scar?
important.
Yeah, Dazzler. And I guess it's cut off, but you can kind of see a magic sword. Magic sword. Machine Man. Okay. I mean, again, like,
Possibly
you
DC
know,
owned character, Machine Man.
that's a whole other. We're not getting that. Oh, there we go. But
All right.
I guess the biggest thing with this timeless stuff is I just feel like this one shot, I don't know what's happening with it. I'll drop in they show like 8 books. None of them are directly involved. They're just books that are happening anyway. And they're like, it's involved in this. And I'm like, maybe those books are happening anyway. So I feel like this book is kind of like last minute. And I don't know. I feel bad for Steve Fox. I feel like it's just very like editorial mandated, act
Because
like it's all threading it in.
he's a pretty good writer. Like he's starting off like he's newer, but like he's not bad. He's hit the ground running. Are you putting in the covers, the other cover, the Liefeld
Yeah,
variant?
I'll have to drop those in because
You drop
yeah.
all three. All right. So they did a variant cover, which I think is 1 in 50. It's
Mm,
Liefeld. What it is, it's a pinup from X Force #8, Mark, where they first
right,
say time slide.
right.
See that? See how it
Very
connects?
important book. Very important
So
book.
hopefully, what Mark's going to show here is the new cover, newly
Yeah.
colored,
hmm
the original cover, and we found the color separations by Steve Buccellato.
Well,
Hopefully, you'll show.
the original pinup from like the Marvel site, basically, because that's a colored. It's finished, not a scan.
But
Like the one cable drawing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
It's the original, right?
the original digital pinup, and then the color separations, which was it
Yes,
was Steve Buccellato.
Steve. Yeah, Steve Buccellato. Um, really cool. I mean, I like what they do with the new colors. I have I guess a nostalgia affinity for the original, but they did a good job. It's neat. You discussed it. You don't love the browning of the dark lines, and I agree with you on that.
I don't know what they're doing.
I'm
I
a
don't
big
know.
fan. If you ink something thick and black, I like it. Like I love
Yeah,
those lines.
thick and
I love
black,
a black
baby.
ink line.
You love it thick
Um,
and black.
I was trying to talk over you as you said that joke because as I said the line, that's right. Good job. Um,
You get me all the time with that, so
I do.
I
I
can't.
do.
It's fair game.
It is fair. It is fair.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. It's funny because again, we're this more than I think we'd expect, and especially with this art stuff dropping in, is that we are into it's so fabric of the new digital and printing of this all this separation. Like we go through Dan Morris stuff and just stare at it, we get into it. You know what I mean? And we're like, this is different than that, and it's a lot of choices. So with this, I just think there's too many weird choices. It's like this is all flat and it doesn't have to be. If it was all black line all the way around, everything would be fine. But because it's like split there and inside the one
mhm.
piece, like it just doesn't. It seems like it's not finished.
No, I get you.
It's not finished. So I don't know. But I did like. So I mean, I can't say I don't like all the coloring. Yeah, like because I want to say the coloring on I would like to buy that cable one shot or the cable miniseries uh JRJR
The
variant
right. Oh
because
yeah,
I think
the when
that
they recolored.
recoloring is better because they recolored the guns like all black
Yeah, it's a
and
neat.
I love it. I think it looks awesome. But there's never been an original coloring of that. That's the weird
No,
part about that history is that was like was that number one
it
blood and
was a
metal?
it was a promo piece that was colored quickly, which was very weird color choice. A lot of like oranges and browns and blues. It's neat. But then when they actually published it, they published it on the interior front and back cover as a poster, but it was black and white.
Black and white, right?
So I don't know
And
why.
then yeah, and then the coloring that was there was in one of the Wizard magazine because I think I have that. I think I bought that on eBay or something like that because I'm like, oh, a pin up for this, and I'm like, oh, it's actually just the middle of a Wizard magazine. I think
Right.
it might say Wizard on it, whatever. But
Wizard
but I wanted
Annie.
it. You know what I mean? There's no cover to that. I do have a promo piece that is not reprinted anywhere downstairs. You saw that it's the JRJR with the crazy eye flame, with
Yes.
the gun out.
Hmm.
That is not printed anywhere. That was a promo for stores,
Yeah. The
not printed anywhere.
the promotional posters Marvel would put out in the late 80s, early 90s were just they were so cool looking. They were original art, not published anywhere, not put in a
Yeah.
trade, not put in the issue. And like every book would have these.
Yeah, that's so Blood and Metal's traded a bunch of places. It's traded in Cable Classic. It's traded in, I think, the X-Force Omnibus that was reprinted just now.
Oh, okay.
It's in one of the, I think it's an X-Force. See, yeah, I think it's an X-Force Epic Collections. I mean, like it's reprinted in a bunch of places, but not that art.
Not
Still
that art.
not that art. It's not out anywhere. So boom, I have it. It's
Hopefully
print.
you're showcasing something of that in
I
addition
well,
to the other stuff you're
I
already
should
putting
find
in.
it. Yeah, I should already
It's
find
like
it,
five
but
different pictures you got to put into this
I love
small
it.
conversation.
That's okay. It's the best. It's the best. That's why it's fun about that. I was telling my daughter about that, how like I don't know where we're going to go with a lot of this stuff. Sometimes it's annoying when I'm editing stuff. I'm like, I can't find exactly what I want, but
Right.
it is a fun like Easter egg hunt later for me, in editing, which is fun for me. Um, we just talked about earlier about Adam Kubert killing it, and this is correct. This looks ridiculous,
Yes. This is Adam Kubert killing it.
and all black line. You know what I mean? And if you're doing the blood, you're doing the blood properly. I don't know who decides that, but whatever. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
if that's a good question with the blood. Is this blood? Is
Oh,
this inked? Like, see how the blood's real thick, and like
yeah,
there's
but
no black lines on the blood.
right, but yeah, look at this. Like, how does that work? Like, maybe he did color guides on this thing. That's with Laura Martin, I guess. Yeah, Laura Dupuy,
Lard the boy.
Laura Dupuy Martin. Yeah, I know. I don't understand how there's not a text cover on this thing or a hidden gem text cover on this thing.
You're correct because there's unpublished Sabretooth pieces for sure by Tex.
Yes, yes.
Um,
So, this I couldn't quite put my finger on who this guy looked like. The guy who drew this thing, who also had a bunch of what's it said, Stom or I don't know who this is. It's Frank Thierry, which
Frank
is he's
Thierry
always
wrote it.
okay.
He's
Yeah,
fine.
he's
He's
okay.
fine with a down to earth Punisher, Deadpool. Like he can do that. Um, he's definitely that Wolverine definitely looks like Hugh Jackman. Um,
Yeah, it's a uh little Francis Yu.
a
It's
little
a
bit of
little
that, a little bit of
yeah. There's somebody I can't quite put
like
my
a
finger on it.
not George Lucas, Jorge Lucas. There's
Oh,
definitely some people
maybe
there.
like Jeff Shaw. It could be like more close to Jeff
Okay,
Shaw, the Jeff Shaw Venom. Like I think some of that. Um,
I don't love this story. Like
yeah,
as
look at
a
look at how bad. I think it's a lot of
as bad.
costume.
Go back to the last page. Go back to the last page.
Huh.
Uh, is he Johnny Depp? Looks
That's
like
Johnny Depp.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's just picking out. I don't think Sabretooth in the early 1900s when this took place takes place in Ravencroft Asylum.
Mm.
They've already tried to establish this as like their Arkham for New York, and they've established that Sabretooth's sister was here and got killed, which I don't believe like that would. I think she's a more powerful character than that.
Mm.
So Sabretooth's here working for Essex. I don't know. It doesn't fit any timeline.
I don't know. I don't remember. I remember that I really liked everything that Kieran Gillen did with Essex. I think everything that he did with that, which was like Uncanny X-Men Volume 2 or whatever they broke off, and that was
Right.
either
And
that
did
was
he
Pacheco.
did he write Wolverine Origins 2?
Jenkins, I believe, wrote that.
No.
No?
Nope. The second Wolverine Origins book was written by, it might have been Gillen.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Because who wrote the first one?
Well, the first one's definitely Jenkins.
Oh,
So
I
that's
see. No,
Jenkins
you're right. Yeah, Jenkins did
and
not
Andy
write the second one.
Kubert.
That's right. Correct. Yep. Yeah, so it might have been Gillen on that one as well. But that
And that
goes into this
established
storyline. Does that go into that
it
this
doesn't it
timeline?
what that establishes that Sabretooth has a brother and a sister. Um,
That's
which the brother gets killed and Wolverine gets down with the sister.
just down with the sickness.
It is Kieran Gillen and Adam Kubert did or and no Adam Kubert drew part two.
Yeah, I don't think I ever read that. I think
No,
I
it's
was
not bad.
like, hmm, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, but
So
overall, this is how many? Like 4 issues,
four
something?
issues. Sabretooth's dead in the X-Men continuity currently. Um,
What?
I just don't. I didn't really like this at all. I only brought it up because I'm such a Sabretooth fan,
Yeah.
and you got this. What? This is a looks like a proto Archangel colored uh, Hunchback that's working for Essex. It just doesn't seem like I don't know who he's writing this for. Sabretooth's
1909.
Sabretooth's out of character. Yeah,
Yeah, it just didn't. None of it felt right. Gotta have the extra body horror in the end. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. None of it really worked. Really worked for me. You did mention these. I didn't read this, but the covers on these are both
yeah. I
like,
glanced through it, but like these two holiday covers are really good. Linsner just doing Linsner thing, but Jay Lee, we just love Jay Lee. Like the stuff he's doing, it's so cool. It's just cool. So Nick Brucci, keep doing what you're doing.
yeah, that's really fun, man. That's really good.
That is fun. What a creepy little elf troll looking zombie thing. Vampirellis looking perfectly Vampirella-ish.
Yeah, I guess I'm waiting for the Chris Priest jump on thing when they do the read.
The relaunch.
I think then
Because
maybe I
he's
can, because I don't really know. I think that's the tough part. I feel like the way we are completionists, like I can't go back and read. I think I read the Miller
Miller.
Morrison stuff, right? Uh
Oh, for
was that
Vampirella?
Amanda Connor? Was that Amanda Connor? Wasn't that like,
Yeah. Yeah, man, early. It was early. Well, the Warren Ellis did stuff with her first off Vampirella. And then you had Miller and Morrison. Yeah. There's a bunch of really good Vampirella stuff. Um, I mean, Alan Moore and Gary Frank did a Dracula Vampirella story. Remember you had that one series, you had like Tim Sale and Alan Davis and Bruce Timm were all doing Vampirella stories.
yeah?
There's a definite top 10 Vampirella, modern Vampirella stuff that's like just really good.
Let me see. And then we didn't do did we did GI Joe, right? I'm just going back because I have to redo what we're reviewing. Okay. Yeah, now we just have media reviews
All
basically.
right.
Doing it live. I think I'm doing it right. 1 second. No. Shoot.
Dead air. We're giving them dead air.
Dead air Dave. I always complain about this. All right, let me go back here.
So, yeah, the Vampirella stuff, if you get a chance, just check out the covers. The inside's good. It looks like a fun Christmas story. So, been been a lot of good Christmas stories this year. One of the things I like about the DC app is is that they'll put out new Christmas stories on the DC app. You don't have to wait for them. Like, we did a Christmas special, but we're going to give it to you anyway. Merry Christmas. They do it for Halloween too. Like you can read the Halloween stories that are new that you typically would have to wait months for as they come out.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So you made me watch this. I watched the first couple, wasn't crazy about it.
Shrinking
The
on
first
Apple
season
TV.
one. Yeah, shrinking. And this season is kind of just like leveled up. And it's funny because like I'm so strange with my opinion on like Harrison Ford. A lot of the interviews I feel like he doesn't want to be there. Like he can't be bothered. He hates the interviews, he hates the interviewer, he hates co-stars, he hates Star Wars.
Mhm.
It's just odd. I just don't know. And then even with this, he's grumpy. You know what I mean? He's a grump, and that's kind of the thing. And that's kind of who he is in the show. But he's
Right.
doing different things here. And this season, I feel like you should get an Emmy for this thing because I feel like he's doing stuff I've never seen
He's
him do ever.
yes. You feel so bad for his character and like what he's doing, what he's going through because he suffers from Parkinson. There's no spoilers. So like dealing like he's already at the end of his life. He's 80 years. I don't know if his character is as old as he is in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he's 80 years old. He's a top tier therapist, psychiatrist.
I don't know if they do meds, so I guess
All right.
psychologist. Yeah,
Um, but he's top tier. He's written books. He's kind of famous. He has his own practice. He has other people there with him as partners. His life's going good. It's a like everyone helps each other out. It's super friendly. It's like the best work environment ever. And then he comes down with Parkinson's, and then he meets like a new love of his life. I don't think he's had a real relationship since him and his wife separated. So it's like, but you have Parkinson's, and he just knows he's going to go downhill. So it's just you're watching him suffer. You're watching him go down. He's depressed, but he doesn't show it. He keeps it on the side because he's that tough type of guy who doesn't want to let the world know how he feels.
Yeah.
and his friendships with all these people are breaking away the chips that make him so tough.
Mm. Yeah, there's just a couple things that I know that the one of the co-creators. So this is Bill Lawrence, who did Scrubs, who worked on Ted Lasso with Brett Goldstein, who is Roy Kent and is also in the season. And then they kind of recruited Jason Segel to kind of come up with something, and then they all kind of worked together and came up with the show. The show isn't as good technically as Ted Lasso, but this starts to get a bit of a stride in this. My biggest complaint with this show and even kind of season three of Ted Lasso is it just kind of became very formulaic. They have a tension and they resolve it, and then they have a like an extra joke in. Like I feel like it's paint by numbers
Yeah,
a
I
lot
think
of times,
what we had
and it
talked about,
makes
we
me
talked about the
nuts.
show when we had talked about the show before. It's even less the joke and more the let's get in a compliment. Like,
Yeah, I like your
you know,
shoes.
yeah,
That one was, and that was like that's last. He
that
goes, oh, da, da. Oh, I
that
love
stuck
your
out to me. Yeah,
shoes.
that stuck out to me
Yeah,
once. I'm like, oh, I didn't really like that.
no. And then they do resolve the conflict kind of, and that's why I think my favorite episode of Ted Lasso is the second to last episode with him talking to his mom. Because I had a conversation very similar, yelling at my mom.
Right.
Um, so I understood that, and the second to last episode here, and we feel like this a lot, is Jimmy, the dad, can't seem to get, or he thinks he's doing everything right with his daughter, and then he can't do anything right.
Right.
Like he thinks he got it. It's 10 o'clock at night. She comes in, she's like, "You don't know what you're doing. You're doing everything wrong." And he was like, "Oh man, I thought I was doing everything right." Like so. I feel like that 3, 4 times a week right now, even right now. Like so I feel like they did that, but I feel like the conflict in the last episode, and even kind of giving the Jessica Williams character, Gabby, giving her a little bit of trouble, of that she was doing bad stuff to Damon Wayans Jr.'s character,
Right.
So, and I think that a little resolved a little too clean. So maybe we can have some of that in season three, I guess. I imagine
Yeah, yeah.
there's going to be
People
a season
often
three.
do this. They forgive someone, but then they keep bringing it up. So you might see some of that. Like people
Well,
like, oh, let's move
yeah.
on, but they don't move on. They just want to get back together,
Mhm.
but also that stuff's still eating away at them. That stuff
Right.
doesn't go away right away.
Right. Because I think when he kind of breaks it off. It's like, hey, you've been trying to blow this up. I'm aware of it. I've done this before. I've seen this before.
Right.
And then she's like, okay, well, maybe you should come to Thanksgiving, and tries to re-invite him. He wasn't invited, and he finds out that he's like, oh, you're not going anywhere. So why don't you just come with me and my aunt's house? And that kind of just blew up. But then he does show up for
Right.
Thanksgiving, and then he
Right.
brings Marla Gibbs from Jefferson's from 227, like just like major old school character, and she hasn't really done anything on the show yet, like so. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, again, there's always like a fathers and sons type of thing, but this is more of like a responsibility of daughters. There's a lot of stuff kind of moving in. Even his relationship with Harrison Ford's character's relationship with his daughter has evolved in this entire season, which I think has been really, really good.
Mm.
Wendy Malick as the girlfriend has been excellent. She's kind of always been great, so I kind of love her on the show. Ted McGinley is ridiculous in the show, so good. Like I never
Yes.
would expect that Ted McGinley from, I guess he was on what he was on Happy Days, I think
Right.
a million years ago. He was on Married with Children
Right.
because he was second husband, right?
Yep.
It was not Steve, but the one after Steve. But then he was always kind of a joke through the 90s and 2000s that if he was on a show, it's getting canceled. Like that
Yeah.
was
He'd
kind of
always show up.
his,
Yeah.
but he's from the start here, been really good. Um, yeah, but the daughter's excellent. But I think that the thing that kind of got to me is having this, and I've watched a lot of interviews with him in the last couple of weeks of they wrote this character, they didn't know what to do with this. So this is the not Roy Kent character, basically
Yeah. It's the
here.
anti-Kent.
Yeah, but this had me literally in the finale, like just like shaking. I don't want to spoil the finale per se, but there's an element where, essentially, and this kind of comes out pretty fast, but most of this season, the best pieces of the season he's been involved in, whether he's being yelled at or he's trying to kind of break through and just talk,
You know,
have small talk.
I think it was really important to cast him because this is a character that you're not supposed to like. He is responsible for the death of the wife of Jason Segel's character,
Jimmy,
like
yeah. Mhm.
Jamie's character, and the girl's mom. So like you're not supposed to like him. He was a drunk driver, like
Right,
drunk driver who killed someone, you know. And then we we know situations like this. We know people. So like you're not supposed to like him.
right,
But like we already like him as the grumpy Roy Kent. Like we already like him.
right,
So then
right,
you
right.
cast him in this, and we're like, oh, we do love him. And then they show
How
his
is he going to play
backstory.
this? Right.
Yeah, and he plays him right. He is guilt riddled. He gave up his life. Like even though he knew he was going to jail, he dumped his girlfriend beforehand so she wouldn't have to wait around for him. Like he's just an empathetic, sympathetic person.
Mm.
So
And the biggest failure, and they didn't really shy away from this whole season. Essentially, this whole season's about Jimmy not doing well because when you first watch the show, he's like drunk all the time. He's like falling into the neighbor's bushes.
yeah,
Alice
he's
basically
drunk
is
or he's
adopted
high. He's taking
by the
pills. He's
neighbor's mom. Like
yeah,
he's
he had
not
to
there
adore his
as a
own
father.
daughter. Yeah,
Right.
not his father, and he's hiring prostitutes, or sex workers, to each their
Right.
own. But like he's in a rust. But the daughter finds out. Like the daughter catches him. Like and that's the embarrassing
Yeah.
part.
A
Do
lot.
whatever you want to. That's fine. That's great. But
Mhm.
like, you shouldn't let your daughter see it, especially your daughter who still thinks that you should be in love with her mom. Like even though
Right.
she's dead, you're kind of cheating on her ghost.
Right, right,
You
right.
know?
So they do a lot this season where he does make some strides and then he messes up again, but she kind of asks him something that I don't know if I'd be comfortable with this, where she's like, "Well, listen, you help everyone. Why can't you help him?" And that's
Yeah,
a big ask. It's a huge ask,
that's a
but
huge.
that's the best part is when he screamed at him the first time, he's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like he just loses it so hard, and it's like it's so it makes me uncomfortable now.
It
And
is.
then
But
he
you know
goes to
what?
see him, and then
But
he says, "Get out of
he's right to
here!
do that. He
Don't
was right to
do
holler at him
this."
because he doesn't know the
Sure,
sympathetic side to the character. At that point, we
he
had
doesn't
already
want to
started to
know.
like. No, but we had already started to like him. We had already kind of forgiven him.
Mhm.
You know, as a fan audience, we're forgiving the guy character for doing what he did, but we still didn't live that life of what Jimmy's had to go through. We didn't lose our wife. We didn't lose what's harder than losing a wife? Losing the mother to your child. To see your child go through that,
Mhm.
and
Right,
and it just having to deal with that, and having to deal with like later on, when the daughter forgives him first, it's like holy crap! Like how do you even deal with your daughter now that she's forgiven someone
right,
who you haven't forgiven?
right, right. And I think the other thing that I thought was interesting is they had an episode where it was almost his entire. It was almost the whole episode was his life, was him putting himself in self-exile, him forcibly breaking up with his. I don't know if they
Yes,
were ever engaged, right? I think they were engaged, right? His fiance,
I
like
feel like yeah.
because they play around that with that a little bit if she's there or not there in the first couple episodes because some of her stuff's there at the place his place and even the last episode which I don't really want to spoil like he's not really open. Listen, you're not going to be telling a lot of people about this, and someone in his work circle finds out this just from things happening in the coffee shop where he works, and is not
It's
really
true.
comfortable being his friend right now. So I'm not saying I'm not going to be your friend. I just can't. I don't know how. You didn't tell me this. Why didn't you?
I
And
don't.
how do you bring it up? How would you bring that up? He can lose his job. You know what I mean? Like that guy. I don't know.
I found out someone I know did this. Someone was in a before I met him.
Mm,
He was drunk in a car accident and killed someone. And I don't know how to feel about that. In fact, I didn't want him around at first. But then I kind of got to know him, and I'm friends with him now. But I still like. But I know that it tortures him. Once I found out that it tortures him, it
yeah,
feels
I can't
weird. I'm like,
imagine you don't
I'm
think about it
okay
all
with
the time.
it.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Not that I'm okay. I'm not. It's such a weird thing. In fact, I shouldn't even brought it up. But it's like I'm trying to relate to the show and like working with someone. Like this is an instance of them working with them. It's like, yeah,
Hmm.
nobody kind of wants him around, and that sucks. It sucks because we don't even think his character was that drunk, so we don't know.
No, they showed the night, and he wasn't. It was enough, I guess enough that I don't know I don't know. They don't go into like a court case. They don't really go into the thing.
They don't go into
They
the
don't really
accident
need
as far
to.
as what he did or what she did. Like we don't know what happened.
Right,
Was he just couldn't respond quick enough, or did he wasn't passed out drunk? He was like buzzed, maybe.
right.
He didn't even finish his last drink. So I don't know. It's a crazy, and this is typical if you watch Scrubs or if you watch Ted Lasso, it's like haha, funny, funny, funny. Oh, this is way
Right,
too heavy.
right.
You
So
know,
that's usually why they have to, but they didn't stay. That's what I feel like the show should lean into. Hopefully, season three. Usually, season three goes bad, right? Season one, they're figuring out their footing. The season two kind of nails it for the most part. Season two of Ted Lasso is better than season one. Season three is messy and then gets really good the last four episodes.
right?
Um, so I don't know. I don't want another. I just don't. I think that there is more of a brokenness that I don't know if Jason Segel is doing where I think Jason Sudeikis, and it could be a situation where Jason Sudeikis literally was going through a divorce during Ted Lasso, probably inspired a lot of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, but
But
Ted Lasso has a good ending, like a happy ending for him and his ex-wife back to wife. I don't know.
maybe we don't know.
We don't
As
know.
long as
He's back.
it's
He's back in the U.S. with his kids. So,
right,
and his
right.
wife wasn't happy with her boyfriend. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the way it's going to go. We don't have to know. But I like that we
well,
don't know.
I can tell you that Jimmy won't get back with his wife.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
But
determined.
but if I were to guess, Jimmy tries to help Roy Kent out and gets him back with his. You know, if she's still single,
Right,
that's
right.
gonna like they hired
There's
her.
going to be a
She's
redemption era of
yeah,
that, right? Yeah, because that is an act. That is not a throwaway actress, correct? I think that his
she,
girlfriend is someone.
she's yeah, she's someone.
Yeah,
I did know, and I totally forget because I brought up the
yeah.
Milligan and Milligan. I think Milligan knew. She's if she's either from something or she's married to somebody too.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. I was just nervous that in this episode they were going to do. So you didn't watch How I Met Your Mother, and two episodes back, Jimmy buys a car from the woman from Maria Hill, who played
Right.
Robin in the old show. So it's Marshall
Mm-hmm.
and Lily, which was Allison
Colby Smulders.
Hannigan. Yeah, so like to me, my brain and me and my sister talked about on Thanksgiving, like, you don't think that's going to happen? She's like, I hope not. I can't imagine. She said it. She's like, I can't imagine Marshall with Robin. That doesn't make any sense because that show was like 8 seasons long and Marshall was with Lily. That's it. So there's no, our brains, I don't think can do it. I don't think we can do it. And my
He
sister was
probably just
against it. She's like, no. And I'm like, I agree with you, but why put her in there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why?
because they're friends. She
I
had a break between
guess
filming her other things. I mean, she's dead.
maybe
She's dead
in
in the
Marvel.
Marvel
So
universe.
she needs a residual check. I don't know. It's,
I'm sure she's
yeah.
fine.
Well, I mean, again, listen, I don't have any problem with them using good people. I always feel like I don't like Krista Miller because that's what's, per se. I didn't like her a lot of times in Scrubs, but then she's great. In this, I don't like a lot of times I'm just like, oh, well, you're only on the show because Bill Lawrence is your husband. That's the gig. But she's kind of great in all the time. And
Yes.
even with the rock stuff is like, I wonder if that's her thing in real life. It just seems a little too
Specific.
specific. Yeah.
Yes.
She does like rock tumbler and then she gives away the rocks to someone. And when she gave it to Jimmy, I was like, ugh. I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can only imagine what I was like watching the last two episodes. I wanted to talk about the last episode with you, and I didn't realize that this one came out on Christmas Eve, I think. So I didn't know that I had another one because I put this on the list, and then I was like, oh wow, I have the finale. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, just it warmed up a bit. I would like to watch it again, and they also do a couple things with the guy with the food truck. I keep forgetting his name. But they do a couple things with him that I think are correct of him abusing himself in a way, like of
Yeah.
him getting in a fight, like deciding to get in a bar fight. Like I get that. Like there's a couple things that end. I do like that he kind of reconciles when he explains that his dad can't say stuff back to him. He just kind of gives him a finger gun. Like
Like a finger gun. And
I
that's good
get
enough.
that. Yeah, I understand it, but that's he can only, in the way that Paul, the Harrison Ford character, is like that is probably all he's capable of doing right now. That's the best he can do. And I try to explain
Which
that sometimes
which
to
is a
my
lot.
daughters. It's sometimes they're not when they say I can't talk to you about or I can't. It's like yeah, they're not capable of doing that. You need to talk to a professional. They're not capable of answering you the way that you need to hear it. or I don't know. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They may not be capable of that, so don't be mad at that person. So anyway, but yeah, really, really good show. But it's funny, like when that show was started, and you said I quit it. Like, how did you quit this? This is about a divorced dad with, a dad on his own and trying to, has
Yeah,
a
he
trouble.
he has breakdowns. Like I've literally seen you have breakdowns.
Oh man. Yeah,
I'm like,
I would say that the breakdown that Paul knew was coming and Jimmy was like just trying to band-aid. He's like, "You're gonna band-aid this and you're
oh
gonna call
yeah,
me." And I was like, "Don't do that. I know exactly what's gonna happen." And it happened in
that
that
was great,
fashion.
dude. When he's smiling after helping that woman, he's smiling, and then it's just lower
And
and
he
lower,
because
and then it
it's not gonna
stops,
last. Yeah,
and
because
it
it even
doesn't.
explains, he says this is not gonna last and you'll see it does not last. So yeah, I'd want to watch it, and also it's with Brett Goldstein's father has Parkinson's, so a lot of that is in there. And Bill Lawrence may have worked with Michael J. Fox. There was some story about Bill Lawrence this week where he talked to Michael J. Fox about certain things
Okay.
about the Parkinson's and things. So
Yeah,
because
because you want to
oh
get
no,
that
I think
right.
they say something about Michael J. Fox where Paul says, "Oh, I didn't take my meds because I want you to see me like this." He's like, "Oh, actually, I read that in Michael J. Fox, blah blah blah," and it wasn't true. Where he did, he's like, "Oh no, I actually took my meds. I don't want you to see this per se, but I don't have the strength for you to see this." But yeah, that speech at Thanksgiving was just blah,
Yeah.
ridiculous. So yeah, I don't know. I've never seen, but again, we've never seen Harrison Ford go long form. So this is where television technically can take that over and be better because of that pull long form. So good, just really surprising. And it's weird, and I don't know. I may do. Brett Goldstein's a comedian. I don't know. Like I've never seen any of his stand up, but he's playing Rahway. He's playing up north, like north of Trenton. It's not too far, but he's doing a stand up show. I listen to his podcast, and it's completely, he's so cheery. It's kind of strange, because you're so used to it. Like, you saw 3 seasons of him being Roy Kent and being like
Right.
mad,
Right.
mean, and then you have this, but he's not like that at all.
You know, it's funny. Kevin Smith was talking about him one day, and they're like, you were on his podcast. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, no, you did his podcast like a couple years ago. Like he was going
One
on
of the
about how
first
much he,
ones. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, but he totally forgot. Like, he didn't recognize Roy Kent from Goldstein.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, that's
He just,
funny. Yeah, because he was on his podcast like early, and every intro of his podcast, which what is that? Films to be buried with. That's that. So basically, he interviews someone, and then about 5 minutes in interviewing them, he says, "Oh, by the way, you died. You're in heaven. And what movies are you bringing? You have the 5 movies, and what's your favorite, funniest movie?" So, and they're reliving their death. So he allows the people, his guests, to. And this is what I think we talked about this last week with Ego Wodum has a podcast too, with having these themed specific podcasts. So his podcast, he is collaborating with the person as guest. They
mm,
decide how they die. The person who it is, they decide how they die, and then he kind of riffs on it, kind of like improvs around it, makes it funnier, makes it better. And then they go through the movies, and then so that's pretty cool. But Ego Wodum's podcast, who she's a cast member of Saturday Night Live, her podcast is all about interviewing someone about their father because she didn't know her father. That was the
yeah,
biggest thing.
yeah.
She doesn't know anything about her father, and then she just has people on, and then they talk about. She has all these similar questions, kind of the same questions each week for the most part, and asks about that person's father, a creative. It's going to be a creative in some way, actor, writer, director. So, and Trevor Noah's is a little bit next level too, where he kind of gets way deep into that, does some heavy research, and then I watch blocks. I tell you, you got to listen/watch blocks. That's the Neil Brennan podcast, but
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah,
But
because
in the
that
end,
yeah.
I
Oh,
just want to
last thing about
go ahead.
the blocks podcast is real fast is that he has the people come on submit what they believe are their blocks, are their things that are preventing them from being happy, successful. Jerry O'Connell was on last week and had like a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't imagine, including like reading articles about how, he's dating Rebecca Romaine, and everyone says he's ugly, and he's like, "Am I ugly? I don't know if I'm not as good looking as John Stamos, but I'm not ugly either."
How
But like, can
weird.
you imagine? He's like, "I'm reading. There's articles after articles after articles about," and I remember around that. So if you remember that, you're just like, "Oh God, what are you doing? You're stepping down from that's the fat kid from." He's like, "I'll
You
never
know,
not be the fat kid from Stand by Me, never."
that's the thing, man. Like, if you and I look at him, Jerry O'Connell, we think super success, had a great party time. He's to us, he's super successful. but
Oh yeah, well, he's
he's not
Sliders,
that
right?
successful.
Yeah, but to me, like that's like that Sliders was kind of big for me. Sliders just
Yeah,
being on.
except he
It
probably wasn't
was
paid that much for that show,
no.
or the show that came on after Superboy.
Oh yeah, I forget what show that was, but no, he talks about
Remember,
the
he could
gap.
fly. He could fly, and he had the two spray cans to help him.
Right, right. God, I forget what that was called. Jeez, but
You'll never guess my secret identity.
oh yeah, was that what it was called? My Secret
Yeah, I think it was
Identity.
my secret identity.
Yeah,
I had to remember the
yeah.
theme song to remember the.
But he talks about he went to the movies and he's watching Lost Boys with his friends. He's like, why aren't, and his friends are like, why aren't, you were just in a movie with that guy. Why aren't you doing this? And he's like, I don't know. Like he had a pretty big gap between going back to acting. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
He
He succeeded and went through. He's really
he.
good in Big Bang Theory. He plays Sheldon's older brother. They do some stuff in there that's surprising.
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
Huh.
Yeah.
He he plays a voice on Star Trek Lower Decks. He's like the
Mhm.
co-captain or first. He's the first, and you'll never think it's him. You never once go, oh, that's Sherry O'Connell. No, he's got a voice and a character and a demeanor
Oh,
that
wow,
you
okay.
never
Hmm.
know. You don't even when you know it's him, you totally forget it's him. You
Hmm.
know, he's really good. He showed up at a Terrificon last year because Rebecca Romaine was a guest. So he shows up with her. He runs our table. He's helping with the lines. He's doing everything. And they're like, "Do you want a table?" He's like, "No, I'm just here for my wife."
Yeah,
But he's
that's
hanging
cool.
out, talking
Yeah.
to people, taking pictures, doing signatures, whatever, for free. But he's just helping out with his wife's table. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, they have twins. Because I know we talked about that on a different podcast where they were good at scheduling because if they had a gig, they would make sure that they have like X trailer and then their twins came with them and then he would just Mr. Mom it and then she would mom it. Like it was just kind of they're really good at it. It seems like they're really good at that stuff. So good, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Um,
But does she dress up like Mystique for him? That's the question.
I don't know.
By the way, I totally dug him on 1313 Mockingbird Lane. They did a they were going to do a Monsters
oh
TV
yeah.
series.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah. That's
Brian,
Portia de Rossi, right?
yeah, Portia de Rossi was great.
Hmm.
Um,
Eddie Izzard.
Eddie Izzard, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, great casting. Um, it was actually a good pilot. Like I watched, I'm like, this is kind of good. This show would only become better. It was Brian Fuller.
Right,
Brian
right,
Fuller,
right.
I think, wrote and directed. I don't know if Brian Singer helped or not. They were like the Bryans for a
Oh,
minute
that's right. Yeah,
before
Brian Fuller did
Pushing Daisies,
Pushing Daisies. We
Hannibal.
talk about that. Yeah.
He wrote the best episodes of Heroes.
Right, 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 right.
HRG, which is the Horror Room Glasses
HRG.
episode.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember that first season of Heroes? Best show of the year. Second
Yeah.
season,
What was the
ugh.
show he had on Showtime that was like there was
Six
a
Feet Under.
no, that was Alan Ball. No, it was
Oh no,
some show on Showtime where it was like a
not 6 Feet Under.
it was like a Niagara Falls type of thing or something like that.
He
And then
did
she ran the gift shop and there was dead people. Dead like me. Does that sound
did
right?
like that might be it. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of it. I knew it was like something like that.
Yeah, yeah, but I'll put it up if it's wrong. Might be wrong. So I just watched the first What If season three, and I unfortunately kind of got hung up on the fake beginning, right? So the fake beginning. Do I have the
I
screenshots
wanted
of the thing? Oh no,
you
I might
you
not have.
you don't have a screenshot of the Hulk?
Oh no, I have a
Bad.
screenshot.
That's a bad call. You
Oh
know
no,
why?
I think I do, but I don't think I have it in there. Yeah, well, I'll drop
You'll
it in.
drop it in. All right. First off, let's
Yeah.
stick with Tony Stark here.
Mm.
That is great 90s. They do an animation at the beginning, like it's a show within a show. So it's a cartoon about the Mech Avengers. And Tony Stark. This is like kind of 90s Tony Stark. It's perfect 90s. I don't know if that's how it did. He look like this in his own cartoon? I don't watch the Iron
No,
Man cartoon in the 90s. Like I was
no, but
kind of
this
out of it.
this to me is almost like Voltron, Battle of the Planets esque like art a little bit. It's a little bit wonkier than that. So
Yeah. But the Hulk looked like the Hulk from the 80s cartoon. A little thinner, but he had the
right,
black eyes, like the black looked like makeup around his eyes. That was very much like if you look at the old 80s Hulk cartoon
yeah, and they
with
do
Michael Bell, was that Peter Parker, was that Bruce Banner.
yeah. So they have like the Mech Avengers, which I believe they did a
Well,
year or two ago.
Thor looks really like Trans Rosé. Oh, and Black
Right.
Widow looks like what's the name with the Egyptian looking one. That's very particular. I bet you these are more particular than we realize. Because Iron
Yeah,
Man's got the fin like Gigantor.
Gigantor. Yeah.
there's more specifics in here than we
Zinger
realize.
Z. Yeah, there's a
The
lot
thing
of
is,
stuff that we don't exactly, that's not really in our wheelhouse, but we like, so we know, yeah, if we go into probably like an Easter egg video, they're going to tell us a lot.
yeah,
Even the screenshots were kind of hard with this. It's to try to find stuff. This is from like a German YouTube screen like person reviewing it. So, but yeah, this was only like a minute or so. I guess the weird thing too, and I'll have to do a better. I think I have a better slide of that where so you have Moon Knight, and we talked about this yesterday a little bit at the bar. Like, how did they record this, man? Because like you have, Simu
in a
Liu,
closet. Take your phone in a closet. We'll record it.
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
Fine.
you
That's what
can,
everyone else does.
you
Or
know,
you find your way to your friendly neighborhood recording studio.
recording studio. Yeah. I mean, because you have Oscar Isaac with like a handful of lines, and you have David Harbour with a handful of lines. Like you just have
Right.
like everyone.
And
Simu
you
Liu.
gotta, yeah.
I'm not sure if that was that Lupita Nyong'o because it was, or no, was it Shuri? No, it was Shuri. I guess probably not
Yeah.
because I think she's canceled, partially
I
canceled.
don't know.
So
Yeah, I don't know how canceled she is. She just says stupid things, but it's fine.
yeah. But you basically have, and then you have like kind of like a Voltron-ish type of situation. You have like an Abomination Godzilla. It basically was, and I saw this in a couple articles. It was kind of like space. It was Godzilla versus Space Godzilla towards the end.
Okay.
So, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty cool because this guy's basically like a Space Godzilla. And at the end, when Bruce kind of comes down, becomes a Godzilla type of character, and at the end of every Godzilla movie, he's got to go away. He's got to
They even
go.
use some of the
You
Godzilla
know,
score almost.
yeah, almost
You're
just
like,
enough to not be copyright
no. Yeah,
infringement.
yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't watch past this just because when I saw it, I was tired. But like, I was like, man, this is pretty fun. Like,
Yeah, next week we'll try to get through a couple more. If I have the time, I'll at least get. I mean, I might finish it during the course of a week.
yeah,
It's
but
kind of a rough week because I got this and I got Squid Games dropped. So like
oh, right,
between
right.
working, but also my family wants to watch Squid Games. So like,
Oh my God, how annoying.
I know. How dare they?
How dare they?
But you know what it is?
I
Like,
have so much schedule. I have this time. I have 11 to 11:42
oh
p.m.
yeah, they're like, oh man, this is my phone time. I was like, oh, you mean all day? Isn't that your phone
Right,
time all day?
right,
Like, put
right,
the
right,
phone down, watch the show. Oh,
right,
but if I watch it without them, it's like, God forbid. You watch that without me? Hey,
right,
you're on
right,
your
right.
phone.
I watched Grace, she was home, and I was like, did you see English? Because we couldn't figure out what to watch. We were gonna watch a horror movie, but we watched a lot of horror movies with Sophia, so we didn't. And I said, well, have you watched English Teacher? And I watched like I think 5 episodes of English Teacher last night. I think we just marathoned it, and it feels so much like a season two because I want to say, and I haven't really deep dived on that, but Brian Jordan Alvarez from English Teacher, he's had the same crew for the most part, besides Enrico Canalone, besides the principal guy, right? But the other people in the crew, I believe, are on his YouTubes and TikTok stuff. So, like, I feel like they have their rhythms and their writing down, and I want to say it's really something to have like a half an over talk or a buzz, and I feel that they have the dialogue between the three main characters basically, him, the girl, and Marky, the coach. I think they have an overlap that you can't just have immediately, but it feels like a season two in that fashion because it's so much like that. We talked a little bit about Abbott Elementary yesterday, and I think that they have that more so and now-ish. I still don't think that show's fantastic, and we're going to see because that's going to cross over with Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Which is a show we
So
do think is fantastic.
and that show
Um,
only got better, and they kind of, but they were all friends, so they kind of always had that maneuvering.
mhm.
First couple are kind of funny though. You ever
Yeah,
seen the original pilot without with a different D?
yeah, yeah. Where they're like actors they're trying to be actors
Right,
instead of
yeah,
being owning a bar.
yeah.
And what's her name has a bigger part in it. The blonde haired chick who,
Waitress.
no, 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 she was she ended up being on the show with a very similar character. She was on the show. She was a transgender, except for she was like really hot. Like you, like
Oh, right, right.
she was in the pilot as a similar character.
Oh
She
man.
was was she on that '80s show? She
Oh,
was
I
on
think
that
that's
'80s
right.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's funny, and I don't know. They don't really have a schedule because again, they all have different empires, right? They all have different
yeah, they're
spaces
all
where
doing
they
stuff.
go. Um, So you saw what was the Glenn Howerton movie?
I didn't see Blackberry.
Oh, you didn't see that? Yeah, you
No,
gotta see
but
it.
I
It's
need
unbelievable.
to. Like I've been wanting to watch that for a while.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. But again, listen, there's only so many hours in the day. We're doing our best.
Yeah. So
Here
yeah,
it
these are.
is.
Oh, there you
Okay.
go. Look at that. Look
Yeah.
at that, dude. That is
I
straight
think I
up
had them out
80s
of
Hulk.
order. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that, dude. I love that Hulk.
There's Ultron. Yeah, that's what
Super
it
cool.
was.
Heroes
Go
of the Gamma
Avengers.
War. So it's funny. This episode starts off kind of cute. It's like a take on Civil War. That's why it's Gamma War instead of Civil War. Um, because it's Falcon running around the track, but instead of Steve Rogers, he runs into Bruce Banner.
Mhm.
So
Right,
it's,
right,
it's
right.
they take it a twist from there, and this is about their friendship. But he
Yeah, and
still
that's
got
Bucky
Bucky.
back there. Yeah.
So Steve Rogers is in this. Did he? He's not in it, but he's like
They don't really get into it.
peripherally, he's
Yeah.
there somewhere.
Right, right, right. Yeah. So I don't know exactly how they mapped it, but the only thing I didn't like about the episode itself is that I never thought I got a good view of I never got a really good view of everyone's mech, you know, of
Hmm.
everyone. And then they do kind of a fast Voltron, right? Where you see the 10 rings pop out and
Yeah,
then
that was
go
kind of
in.
cool.
Yeah.
Like a
So I
Voltron, yeah,
so they do like a
Transformers
Voltron
combination.
at the end, but it's like I don't know if I saw everything. And then I feel that I don't know if they ran out of money. I just felt like I kept seeing Sam just walking up to Hulk's head, to his eye. And I'm like, you got to do a medium shot on this, bro. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know where he is. How's he getting down there? Everyone's yelling at him. So you have people yelling at him and they're all medium shots or close ups. And then
Hmm.
you just have Sam walking down. Like, I'm just like, I need to
Like, yeah,
see
where's the rest of his head?
the medium shot. There was
What?
no,
Yeah,
yeah, they didn't have it. They didn't have it. They just didn't do it. So I'm not sure if that's going to be in the other episodes that are going to be kind of like shortcutted did.
and the when they actually said Avengers Assemble, I'm like, that's too perfect.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost too easy, but it works.
Yeah, no, this I thought was, and I think I maybe want to watch it again. Again, I'm kind of hard on. I don't really love,
Whoa, that's personal.
whoa, I just don't know. I mean, again, I could have done a half hour of the Go Avengers. Like I would have been like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so go
fine,
over please.
because that's kind of everything I'm watching now.
Let's come back to that.
I'm
You know what? Because
rewatching
that's
Thundercats.
you watch Thundercats. We all just enjoyed X Men
Because even this, they have
'97.
like a that's the beginning of a lot of them. That's the beginning, like Thundercat. Like it's always like a like some type
Yeah,
of
outside of the
thunderclap or
yeah,
something.
our Transformers would have like the two Autobot and Decepticon symbol flying around the Earth. You
Yeah,
know, that's
yeah,
cool. It's
yeah.
cool. You know what's funny? Hulkzilla. There is a Hulkzilla. It was in the first Marvel Mangaverse series, right? The Ben Dunn.
Yeah, Ben Dunn. Yeah.
I think he was the
Yep.
first to do like a Hulkzilla.
Yeah.
It is
So it makes
cool.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, listen, Godzilla does have a history in Marvel. The end of the Godzilla series, the last like 5 issues, it's like Shield versus they're trying to take like Godzilla out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like Dum Dum Dugan's running like a G-force like takedown Godzilla in that. So we'll see. But yeah, we want to see what the Godzilla Marvel stuff's going to do because they can kind of go every which way. So we'll see. Hopefully that's where we'll find Ed
right.
McGuinness. Ed McGuinness, get to work on that, please. That
That's
would
right.
be that would be ideal. That would be an ideal situation. So, but that's it. There we'll knock it out. We'll be done it. We're gonna finish it out. Let me unshare, stop share. Whoop. But yeah. So everyone, happy New Year because I don't know when this is gonna drop. Maybe might be New Year's Day. Don't know. Happy New
Are we?
Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Everyone, have a great New Year. We'll see you next week.
All right, I'm gonna hit the button.
You don't have to tell them.